back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device.
Dondi, I remember.
Dondi always had big panels.
I thought you were going to say something else.
I guess it was Dondi's father's love interest.
Dondi's father's love interest.
I think.
This is a deep cartoon strip.
Wow, we've already lost anyone.
Well, whatever. They're gone. So, but her name was
hashtag Dondi's father's love interest.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, August 18th, 2021. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And with me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete, Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello. It's Wednesday, huh? Wow.
It's Wednesday.
Hello,
It's Wednesday all day.
Good thing we're here.
How was the vacation week off last week?
I don't know. You tell us. I think you're the only one who had a vacation. I
poll for the audience.
I enjoyed not talking about the Jets' offensive line for a week.
Yeah. Amongst all of you watchers and listeners, who realizes that we didn't do a show last week?
Yeah. Show of hands.
Yeah.
Show of hands.
I know.
Yeah.
I know we did.
That's because I was here.
That's right.
Not doing it.
That's
right.
So,
there's
a lot of people right now. Well, two or three going. What happened?
They didn't do a show last week.
What?
What was that about? I don't understand. Anyway, but no, it was. I had to get away. A couple days. It was nice. Northeast, a little New England action.
I think we should do it every other week.
Oh
wait, are we on the air?
Oh yeah, we're on the air. Yeah.
I know if we discuss.
You think I should go to New England every other week?
HR has to be here, right?
One of us gets to go to New England.
One of us gets to go to New England every other week.
That's a long trip for you.
We need guest hosts. We just like
God, there you
stuffed
go.
animals or something like that.
I know who can fill in for us.
Who can fill in? Yeah,
That's right.
Marie Kondo. She can fill in for us.
Well, if she promoted it, we'd have the biggest ratings ever. Yeah,
this is true. Does the Get On With It sports podcast? I can speak. It's been a week. I gotta get back in the shape of things here. Does the Get On With It sports podcast bring you joy?
It hasn't brought me joy yet, but I'm also dealing with a setting sun here.
I was going to say, is that sun in your eyes bringing you joy?
Yes. I have to try to get it so that it looks cool.
There
you go. Now I look like a 1987 video. It's the Human League.
Yes, there you go. Don't you want me, baby?
Don't you want me, baby? Yes. In cars. Here in my car. Yeah. I like when it's just around my mouth. It looks like I was getting back to the ball gag.
Actually, it could be a mustache. If you put it over the mustache, right. It's like a longer.
My rainbow mustache.
There you go.
Like you got a headgear made of sunshine.
That's right. That has very different connotations.
That's cool right there because it's on the tip of your nose and your mustache.
Yeah, there we go. This is going to bring in. This is going to bring in the ratings.
Take a still of that.
That's right.
Done. Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of Gary Newman, have you listened to his more recent album?
Yeah, I like Gary Newman. I saw him. I'm guessing it would be 2019, maybe. Yeah, 2019, maybe 2018.
Gotcha.
And he was really great. He puts on quite a show. His later work sort of sounds interestingly more like people that he influenced early on, like Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
But he's still really good, and his band is great, and they put on a great show.
Was it a big show? Was it like at Red Rocks or something, or just a small?
No, it was right. Well, the good thing about it is I walked to it because it was right down the street from my house at the Gothic Theater.
Great.
And perfect size venue, and now you don't have to deal with all the nonsense of larger shows. But that's probably the largest show I've seen him do. He's scheduled to be there again, I think, whenever. If shows are going on again, who knows? It's just a revolve. You buy tickets, and then within the next 5 years, you get to see one or two of the shows that you purchased.
Of course, yeah. It's like a crapshoot.
I can't remember the. Oh yeah, Intruder, which just came out. This year, actually, May of this year. Pretty good. I gave it a listen.
It's really good.
Yeah. I was like genuinely surprised. Not that I was expecting it to be bad, but I'm really enjoying it. Actually,
his one of his earlier albums, the name is escaping me right now, but had a very young Pino Palladino playing bass on it, fretless bass, and it's fantastic. Basically, Gary Newman was like, this guy's so good. Turn him up in the mix, get my vocals somewhere in there, and everything else is below it.
Just bury everything else.
And it's really good. It's I think it's pre Cars phase, so it's really early Newman. Not quite Randy Newman, but early Newman. Yes,
somewhere between Randy Newman and Alfred E.
That's right.
The early Gary years.
I think I Assassin is the name of the
Assassin.
Oh yeah, okay,
yeah. And
there you go.
Gary,
That's your sports talk, folks.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Newman? Gary Newman, Randy Newman, or Newman from the Seinfeld show?
Definitely Gary Newman. Although Randy, I don't know. I like all the Newmans for different reasons. That'd be a great band, though. Randy Newman,
Gary Newman,
and Newman. A lot. I think they'd be like a boy band, though. They're all singers, so just the piano.
And
you gotta have a synth. Right?
You gotta have, of course.
Yeah. A synth and a piano and
Newman.
And Newman.
Or something, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That'd be a great band.
Newman Cubed.
Newman Cubed.
They're going to open for Al Di Meola.
That's right.
Open for Al Di Meola.
They're going to open for Wilson Phillips.
There you go.
Wilson Phillips. There you go.
Now I'm getting into a little bit of Peter.
Special guest on guitar, Joe Satriani.
Now my son Ray is looking a little Peter Gabriel circa.
There you go.
Trespass.
It's in your eyes. Get it? See what I did there?
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm now to your hat. There you go. All right, it's all good. Anyway, so what are we here for? Sports. That's what sports. That's
but how about the basketball that they're playing, huh?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Who's playing basketball?
I don't know.
Summer League.
Summer League
Makes
Summer
me
League.
feel
Summer
fine.
I watched 8 seconds of it last night.
Well,
it was the Pelicans and somebody.
I watched even less as I scrolled past the channel. I was like,
here's a summary of basketball in the last 2 weeks. The Lakers continue to sign 37-year-olds.
And they continue to get injured.
That's right.
Well, that's why they keep signing them. Eventually, one won't get injured, and then they'll have them.
Well, they haven't played yet, so nobody who's gotten
injured walking off the curb.
Yeah.
Sprained a finger signing
exactly
a 10-day contract. I guess baseball is what we have to talk about first.
This just in. Yeah, baseball-wise. This just in. What was it? Oh, yeah, the Mets won today. Holy shit. The Mets won today. Unbelievable.
Look, I realize this is, the time. The Mets are just having their let's forget how to win games moment towards the latter part of the season,
which is what they did back in like 08 and 07.
Yeah, but they're still they still can win that division pretty easily. And the problem with the Mets is that all these people that you thought maybe would be coming back from injury, it doesn't look like you're going to have them.
No one's coming back.
And that was the great hope. Hey, can we hold on and stay within a couple games and then have a second starter, a second ace, and now it just doesn't look like that's going to happen. So,
especially when you're kind of missing your first ace too.
Well, that's part of it, right?
That's if everything else fell into the place, then you could say, well, sure, we could lose to
for
a couple, a couple of games here, and then a little bit more extended time there. But
have we ever been in an era of sports where it's just sort of like, oh yeah, our best star is out for half? I mean, it just seems like in every sport, on almost every team, one of your stars, if not three of your stars, are just out. They're just out for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the Yankees injury list, it could be a starting team for
somebody. Yeah. They'd be playing for the injured list.
Right.
The Yankees.
And of course, it doesn't help that the Mets are playing
the best teams.
31 out of the next 34 gaams against the two of the best teams.
Right.
And two, they flexed the Sunday game. Yeah, let's go to that really quick. All right. Yeah, they got. Oh, in a nutshell, though, I mean, the last podcast we did 2 weeks ago, the Mets were in first place. They are now 4 games out of first place in third place. All right, but in any event, in the month of August, they've gone 5-12. If they lost today, they would win 4-13 in August. Yeah, and Atlanta, who's in first place now, has gone like 14-4.
Yeah, Atlanta's gotten really hot.
They got really hot, and and Philly's playing a little bit better ball too, although they've lost a couple recently, but 5-5 in the last 10. But as far as this past weekend goes, you knew they weren't beating up on the Dodgers. Maybe they might have been able to pull one game out at home, but I didn't even think that was going to happen, and it didn't. They got swept. They got swept 2 weekends in a row by the Phillies, and then obviously by the Dodgers this past weekend. But Sunday's game got flexed to an ESPN game on Sunday night. So they had to play Sunday night, then fly all the way to California with jet lag, and then play the Giants, the best team in the National League, on Monday night.
Right.
That's real good planning. That's real good planning. Absolutely.
It's down to like 94 degrees at night.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, it's nice and breezy there. So. But
Look,
in any event.
If you're a Mets fan,
I don't think it would have mattered either way, because even if they played an early game and then had a day off, they still would have lost that game to the Giants.
You can't complain about schedule if you're a Mets fan.
I'm not even talking about the fact that they could have won the game had it been scheduled differently. No, they weren't fucking winning. I'm not saying that. Just it's still stupid. It's still shit. But
they won an extra inning game against the best team in baseball, right?
Yeah,
it's
tied 2-2 at the end of the 10th, and they won in the 12th 6-2. So I mean,
and look,
obviously somebody hit.
The problem with the Mets is that they lost to the Marlins, right? 3 out of 4. They lost 3 in a row to the Phillies. Well, then they beat the Nationals, which they should have.
Yeah, well,
and then they lost 3 to the Dodgers.
Well, that's the thing. Had they won those 3 games, the 3 of the 4 games that they lost to the Marlins, they'd be 1 game back.
That's the thing. The Mets have typically been pretty good at beating teams in their division that they should win. They've been winning series.
Right.
So
their margin for error is,
and now they're playing. Now they're playing the two best teams in baseball back to back
again. And they have Arizona thrown in there somewhere, or maybe not Arizona. They some short series against them.
Well, after they play the Dodgers again and then the Giants again, they're playing the Nationals again. And then the Marlins again. So
and look, if
they steal a game from the Dodgers and they steal another game from the Giants,
we're talking about stealing games from
and then they beat up on the Nationals and the.
That's the thing. That's the thing. That's when if you're a legitimate team, then you say we should win this series against the Giants. We should win this series, or at least split it with the Dodgers. If you're saying, hey, we want to win one and not get swept, that's when we're going to sneak into the playoffs and probably not get very far.
Right. And honestly, as much as we say every team suffers injuries and every team has to deal with them, that is true. But they do make a difference. Absolutely. When your ace, who happens to be the best pitcher in baseball, is out, and your high-power free agent that you brought in is out, and then you bring in another all-star, and then he gets hurt, it makes it takes you don't have those pieces that you were counting on. So
it's very true.
It does make a difference. You can't use it as an excuse, but there are reasons. It's not they suddenly turned lousy. They're losing people.
Right. And the bottom line is, and I think a lot of people, not everybody, but I think a lot of people lost sight of it this year, is the fact that the Mets were not winning the World Series this year. Okay. If they did, great. I mean, that would have been, oh my God, really? They did that? But they were not winning the World Series this year. It was about steps, right? It was about making the playoffs this year. Maybe either making a wild card or winning the division in a crappy division and getting in and maybe winning a couple of playoff games, getting the experience, getting back in there, making the steps.
Yeah, but you were hoping, you were thinking maybe this could be a team that could catch fire, maybe get through, maybe get to the series. Although it's obviously a lot harder now.
At least maybe even win the NLDS. And then
it wasn't a realistic expectation,
depending on who they're playing. Yeah, exactly.
But you could say, maybe this team, especially with waiting for Thor to come back, and I guess saw some video of him the other day. Looked pretty good, but it's. Now 2 months since when we were thinking he would at least be back, and
then you need to grow him back.
Right. He's not going to come back and start pitching 8 innings to shut out.
If the Mets can sneak in, and they're not going to win the wild card, they need to win the division. If they could sneak in and win the division, they could play the potential spoiler in an early. They have better chances in an early series than they do in later series.
Yeah, definitely.
Just due to the fact that they got the best pitcher in baseball who they could throw out at game one.
If he even comes back, though, because he keeps getting pushed back 2 weeks. I put money down on the fact that he's thrown his last pitch in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, him, Corey Kluber, and Luis Severino are all hanging out somewhere in Boca, with ice packs on their arm.
Exactly.
I don't know.
This is very reminiscent of kind of the old Mets, right?
Sure.
Where somebody would get hurt and they'd always do the same thing. The PR department would always go, well, just mention the best case scenario, right?
Right.
Which, if your head falls off, the best case scenario is like 2 weeks.
Right.
Right. And
That's
so a guy would break his leg and they'd go, well, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
We got this new tape we use.
Everything's 2 weeks. Everything's 2 weeks.
And then like another week later, that people would be going, hey, the guy's not even walking. You can tell me he's going to be back in 8 days. And they'll be like, well, we're going to go to 2 to 4 weeks. Like they just never wanted to come out and say, he broke his fucking leg. He's going to be out for a month at least.
Right.
That's all we can do. They always tried to parse it and always tried to dribble out the information. And no one ever believed what they said the first 2 or 3 times. They told you how long somebody was going to be out because it was always bullshit.
Sure.
And one of two kind of reminiscent of that.
Absolutely. And one of two things is happening here. Either they're full of shit and they knew he was going to be out and they don't want to tell us what's going on, or they don't know because
kind of thing to do.
Of course, yeah, exactly. And I think there's still some Wilpon hangover there, only because Cohen's not fully he's not entrenched as an owner yet. He's still in his rookie season, if you will, at that. Right. And you got Sandy Alderson back in there, who's bringing back Wilpon type things, even though he wasn't really part of that camp, but he was for many years. And honestly, I think house needs to be cleaned. I really don't think Luis Rojas. We've talked about this a million times, that he's the guy for this. They need to bring in somebody that You know what? Yeah, listen to the analytics, but baseball's about more than just listen to the analytics. And I think everybody's calling for Backman. That's never going to happen. Yeah. But
the thing about the analytics is you don't have the pieces that you're expecting to have, right? So that kind of it doesn't throw the analytics out the window. But you've got younger guys, right, that you're going to put in those spots, and you don't really have that much data on them.
No, you don't. But why does the analytics tell Marcus Stroman not to swing at a pitch when the bases are loaded with no outs? Because even if he grounds a ball to second and he grounds into a double play, they're still scoring a run. They're still driving a run across the plate.
It's kind of the old the old little league, right? Don't swing till you have 2 strikes. Maybe they'll walk you. I mean, it's just foolish in my mind.
Ridiculous. But I think the main person that has to go is Sandy Alderson. I think Steve Cohen has to throw Theo Epstein whatever amount of money he wants to be team president and try and turn this thing around for him. So that's my thought. My 2 cents. That's all. I'm done.
I don't think a change would be a bad thing. I think it's fine that Sandy's here now and Cohen's getting his feet wet as an owner, but I don't know.
Did you see what he tweeted out yesterday?
No. My thinking is that was the best decision at the time, and
maybe
he really didn't know who else to go with. So, okay, fine. Yeah. You go with Sandy, and he's, not everything is anybody's fault altogether, but
no,
it's a
system.
I think that it's a team behind the scenes that could be improved.
Right. Well, Steve Cohen tweeted out yesterday. He called out the unproductive hitters on Twitter. So they got 10 hits today and had scored 6 runs and won the game. So
they won in extra innings. But
in extra innings, and they got most of those hits in extra innings. So
of course.
It's hits, but it's clutch hits.
Yeah,
that's what's been killing them.
Wins win, and they look. They're going to have to. This next 2 weeks, they can't afford to be even 500. They got to win. 60, 65% of the game.
They got 7 games against the Dodgers and the Giants.
This is it. This is where
being exposed. They were not that great to begin with. This is a team that playing 11 games against the Dodgers in San Francisco. You'll cut off a finger for them to go 500.
What are they? 4 games back right now?
They're 4 games back of Atlanta right now. Yeah.
You could be I don't know who Atlanta plays this next couple of weeks, but. The Mets, if they don't at least split some of these games, these series, the Mets could be 8 games out in a week from now.
It's very possible, yeah. It's very possible.
And then it's kind of over.
Pretty much.
And then you're not going to see any chance of them pushing anybody coming back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If they're 8 or 9 or 10 games back by September 1st, there's no way they're bringing DeGrom back.
All right, here's Braves have got day off tomorrow, 3 against the Orioles, then 2 against the Yankees, then a couple of days off, 3 games set against the Giants, 2 games against the Dodgers to round out the month of August.
So
not a pretty picture for them.
And then you got the Phillies, who are actually pretty hot.
And then one more game against the Dodgers on September 1st, and then they got the Rockies and the Nationals and the Marlins and the Rockies, and then back to the Giants for 3.
Rockies, Nationals, Marlins, Rockies. Okay, so that's 12 wins right there.
Right. Well, the Rockies have been playing Rockies been playing okay baseball. They gave the Giants a run for their money. They gave the Dodgers a run for their money.
Right.
So if you were to ask me right now, are the Rockies, are the Mets much better than the Rockies since the All-Star break? No.
I think Rockies, they're a good spoiler team.
Yeah. Especially
I don't know if that's their mentality.
If you're playing them in Coors Field.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if that's how they're thinking about it, but yeah.
No, they're not. Here's the mentality of the Rockies. What? There's a baseball team in Denver? we couldn't get what we wanted for Charlie Blackmon and Trevor Story. That was it. Yeah, that was the big story of the Rockies. But they have some good young pitching. And look, their farm system always produces some good young players. Now they get good, and then typically
go elsewhere.
They go somewhere else.
They're 2 years away from being 2 years away.
Right, yeah. Exactly. Hugh Quattlebaum was quoted as saying that he needs to do better for these guys. Hugh Quattlebaum is the, to refresh your memory, the batting coach, the hitting coach.
I thought he was a character on Family Guy.
That too. Yeah, that too. But he's he replaced Chili Davis. So he says he needs to do better for these guys. Can he? Here's the thing. Can he beat Chili Davis? Maybe.
Look, you could put all 3 of us in a room and make Michael Jordan our shooting coach. We're not going to do that well on an NBA court. So
this is true. But some of these guys. Most of these guys, I shouldn't say some, most of these guys were hitting better last year in that short season with all of that crap going on than they're hitting right now with a whole entire, spring training and everything else to get ready for it and a lot more games to lead up to it. So, something's going on.
I'm gonna say this, and this would be an interesting thing for a statistician out there to actually compile. This is based on just my eye test. I don't think there's been a year in baseball where you've seen great players or very good players who have consistently hit 290 or above, well into the 300s for some of these guys who are all hitting 250 to 278. The drop off in averages has been incredible this year compared to last year and the year before.
Right.
And you're seeing some really great players. I mean, look at Lindor, look at, even there's just a lot of guys whose averages are down and they're down significant, 20, sometimes 30, 40 points. That's a lot.
It is.
And so average doesn't mean very much in baseball anymore. I don't know what it means. It comes down to, can you hit in the clutch? And there's some guys out there hitting 212 who happen to have some pretty clutch, 2-out RBIs this year.
They're clutch hitters, but don't really hit any other time. That's it. Shout out really quick to Sarah Drew watching us on our YouTube channel. She gave us the.
Yay, Sarah!
Hey, Sarah.
She's in my cohort at boot camp.
There you go.
She's awesome.
Awesome. Cheers, Sarah. Thanks for watching.
Don't get down, Sarah. Today was a tough day for a lot of us. There's a lot of people kind of going, what happened with the thing and the Axios and the what?
Oh, geez. So, crazy day for you?
Yeah, it all makes sense when you
put it all together.
Works. And then you go, oh, yeah, of course. That's how you loop a request inside a request inside of a loop. Yeah. But
I'm more lost than when you guys talk about the Jets.
That's how I felt today.
That's how you felt today.
I feel dumber than Joe Flacco right
now. What? We got another comment here. He says, "Yeah, man, I just napped it out." There you go. Is that mapped it out or napped it out?
That's a good plan. Get away from it for a while, rest the brain,
and then
dive back in. I got to talk to you guys for 2 hours, and then
you can nap it out.
Then wolf down some dinner, and then try and figure out what the hell I learned today.
Exactly.
Well, we'll get you out of here early. Let's go. Now that we've spent a half hour on the Mets.
Well, let's talk about the Yankees for a minute. What makes them a different team now for these last 2-3 weeks than they have been, for the bulk of the season? I'm asking you, Harry.
Pitching and timely hitting. Yeah, despite their bullpen troubles, their pitching has been great. Luis Gil or Hill or however you say his name.
Hill.
They've gotten some decent outings out of Jordan Montgomery. The guy who's pitching tonight is finally having a decent game. I don't know really why we picked him up. Some of the other pitchers that have been filling in, we won 2 very long bullpen games.
Right.
And look, Rizzo was a big acquisition. I think Gallo adds something that they haven't had, which is the ability to put him in left field. And look, he saved a run last night because he's got a great arm. He's arguably their best outfielder now.
Right.
And then Rizzo goes down with COVID, and Big Luke comes back and steps up and has one of the best weeks of anybody coming back off an injury that I've ever seen. Here's the problem the Yankees have is I wish that in the offseason, one of these guys, either Rizzo or Luke Voit, needs to learn how to play third base or left field, because I don't want to see either of them go. Rizzo's having a typical Yankee acquisition. What either happens is they don't do a damn thing, or they do really great for half a season on a contract year.
Right.
And he's going to put them in a situation where they cannot say no to him to sign him to a new contract. Voit had a point last night. He was top 10 in MVP voting last year. He led the league in home runs. He's a much better defensive first baseman than people give him credit for. He's not as good as Rizzo. He's also a lot younger. And so the Yankees are still 2 starters away from being one of the, a legitimate team in this league. Cole had a bounce back game again. He's been a little up and down, beat a pretty good Angels team in convincing fashion. Their starting pitching has been excellent. Absolutely excellent. It's their veteran relievers, the schizophrenic Chad Green, who's up and down, Zach Britton, who's worthless. Absolutely. I don't know why he is still on this team. And Aroldis Chapman is on COVID protocol. So that's why they're winning. Loizaga and Lucic.
They're winning because Boone can't go to
both of those guys have
Chapman.
been they got the 2 best closers in baseball. They are horrible. They are horrible, and they're unreliable. And look, now of course Stanton is occasionally hitting, so you can't make the argument. Okay, well you keep Voit, maybe you try to move Stanton, and you plug and play Rizzo and Voit at DH and first base. The Yankees are going to wind up losing Luke Voit in the offseason because they're stuck with Stanton, and they're going to re-sign Rizzo to a high contract, and they're still going to have the same starting pitching now. Some of these younger guys look pretty good. I like Tyler Wade playing shortstop. I like the fact that LeMahieu had 2 really good defensive plays the other day that were big in that win. I like having Voit or Rizzo at first base. It makes defensively they've improved a lot,
right.
and they're playing small ball. They're faster, they're quicker. They've had to insert some of these guys like Wade, Gardner back into the lineup, Gallo. They're much more athletic. They've gone from the worst team, I think, running wise on the bases to, in the top third. And that's made a big difference. And they've eked out a lot of close games. So we'll see.
Is Judge playing more? I have not been paying attention.
Yeah, Judge is back.
Judge pretty much every day now, right?
Judge is having a great year.
Stan's been playing some outfield too.
I'll tell you this. My only criticism of Aaron Judge, and I don't know what it necessarily is. There was a hit in that corn game that he's significantly dropped, especially with deep fly balls towards the warning track. He's been a liability out there. He was a good outfielder before with a great arm. He's a mediocre outfielder at best right now. So that's another thing. Yankees have 4 guys who are their best sluggers who are fighting it out for two positions and a DH spot.
Right.
And you know how I feel about the Stanton deal.
How many years does Stanton have left?
I don't know.
17,
I think he's got another Right when Bobby Bonilla's deal ends,
done.
right before Bobby Bonilla's ends. Yeah.
Oh, someone else just retired. I got to look that up. And got a deal like that. Sorry.
Well, can't they do that? Can't they just say, hey, you know what? He's got 3 years left, 2 years, 3 years left, whatever it is. Can't they just say, okay, you know what? We'll cover the salary. We'll cover 80% of the salary.
He's hitting again. And honestly, I don't think he's all that worse than Judge in right field. But I want all four of them on the field at the same time, and that's my thing. Is that
can he play an umbrella outfield then, like a short center maybe?
Here's kind of the outfield that you might have to play in a playoff game, at least in the early innings, is Gallo in center, Judge or Giancarlo Stanton in right, or Judge or Giancarlo Stanton in left.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I've never seen. Usually, third basemen aren't the biggest guys, but they're usually not the smallest. Can Rizzo or Voit play the outfield or play third base? I don't know. But
that would work then.
Rizzo's first game back today, and he was right in the lineup, and he's got 2 RBIs and a 2-out double. So I think Voit. I think the Yankees have made their decision already, and it's hard to argue to put. I mean, top first baseman in baseball, they're both in the top 10.
Yeah,
and they're platooning them, so it's a bit of an issue.
Well, if it comes down to it, they could rotate it right where one of them plays first base one day, DHs one day, and comes off the bench one day.
Yeah, Well, he signed a 13-year contract, Stanton, and he becomes a free agent in 2029.
Oh, Jesus.
So we're stuck with Stanton.
Stan's not going anywhere for another.
Unless, look, I don't know how old Stanton is. He's what, 31?
31, 32, something like that. 33 maybe.
Yeah. So I don't know. It would be nice if. I think at some point, especially in early inning games, and maybe he's got to be in the lineup 3 out of every 4 games. Same thing with Judge. Same thing with Voit and Rizzo. Gallo's been okay,
31 years,
but he hasn't produced nearly as much as Rizzo and Voit have combined. So we'll see. The top of the lineup looks better. They got Rizzo in the 2 spot tonight. I like that. Both Rizzo, LeMahieu, Judge, they're all hitting. Stanton's actually hitting pretty well. Sanchez is out of the lineup. A lot of these guys, Torres and Andujar, are out of the lineup. So it's interesting. Some of these younger guys are playing good ball.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, it could be worse, right? I mean, now they're 5 games back of the race, and they're tied for the lead in the wild card.
They're tied for the lead in the wild card. They were 10.5 games out of first place, at the All-Star break, I think. They've been the best team since the All-Star break, or tied for the best team.
Somebody reported that they think the Yankees and the Red Sox are going in opposite directions right now. So.
Well, that's obvious, but I still think the Red Sox have a pretty good. Look, here's the Yankees injury list. Okay, this is a starting team. Okay, you have Andujar, Torres, Severino, Urshela. So you got 2 third basemen. Corey Kluber, Clint Frazier. I don't know if he's ever going to come back. Domingo Germán, Clay Holmes, who was one of the guys that was pitching fairly well. Michael King, another guy who was pitching pretty well. LaCastro, Darren O'Day. I mean, and oh, by the way, their best center fielder since Bernie Williams, Aaron Hicks, has been out and is going to be out for the rest of the season. So the Yankees are going to have to make some tough decisions with a lot of these guys. Look, if we can get Severino back, Kluber maybe, Germán and Holmes and King and a couple of these other relievers, the Yankees they're going to get 4.5, 4 1/3, 5, maybe 6 innings out of their starters at the most. So when playoff time comes, should they be there, their bullpen is going to be taxed to the max. And so they're going to need all these arms. And I think they're in a decent position pitching wise. The back end of the bullpen, which has always been what everybody says is the best thing for the Yankees, makes me the most nervous. Every time Zach Britton comes in the game, a lead disappears.
Mm-hmm. And it's usually the same thing for Familia or May lately.
Yeah.
And they've both been up and down. They've both been, a couple games they come in and they're lights out, and a couple games they come in and the 3 runs are gone. May came in the other day, 3 runs, done.
What I like about the Yankees is that Gallo hasn't gotten hot yet. There's some, I think you're going to see a lot of pinch hitting scenarios and a lot of guys, defensive substitutions after that. So Voit will get his at-bats, and if he's not playing, will get his at-bats. They're going to have to learn how to become really good pinch hitters.
Yeah. So
that's easy to do.
It is. Very easy. Hey, we never know. You never know. Manfred comes up with a lot of really weird, ideas every offseason. So maybe, just maybe, he'll institute several DH positions, so you can actually DH for not just the pitcher, but a couple of your weaker hitting fielders that field well, right? So,
there you go. Clint Frazier has a future.
There we go. There's always a spot for Clint Frazier.
Exactly. And you mentioned the Field of Dreams game, or would you call it the corn game?
The corn game.
Game.
Oh, by the way, this is before we get to that. The Rays signed David Robertson, so that's going to come back. The Yankees are going to be playing the Rays, and Robertson's going to come in and do like a 3-inning shutout, 4 strikeout,
right.
game where Giancarlo Stanton's standing there looking. Yeah, anyway, it's. So the corn game. The corn game was cool. I thought the visuals on it was really great. The Yankees should have won that game.
If you look at this picture too, they built the stadium. Right. The over to the right, you see that little bit of a field right there. That's the original stadium that they had.
Yeah.
That they built for the movie, but. They built the stadium, but I was wondering what this maze part was.
It's the line for the corn dogs.
Gotcha. That's the line for that bathroom, actually.
Yes.
You can pee in the corn, but you have to get there through the maze.
Yeah. I mean, look, this was interesting. I think maybe they should. I mean, I don't know. There was a novelty aspect to it. I thought the visuals of it were pretty especially because there was no stands in the outfield. So it made, and the way Fox broadcast it, the way they did the cameras and everything was really interesting.
They all walked out of the corn and
but
the Yankees, kind of like the hockey game that's outside.
Right.
There's a novelty aspect to it, but I'm a bad example because don't watch a lot of hockey anyway. But I'm not dying to see another hockey game on the.
Now hockey
for me, it kind of works.
Like
I might check in with a game that was outside more so than I would with a regular season game. But I don't know, for a regular hockey fan, I've seen it.
I think this baseball game did and I was skeptical about it. I think it did bring a lot of people in. I think it just happened to be on at the right time on a night where there was no other sports on, really nothing else on television, and people tuned in.
But I mean, as a regular thing, I don't know if
I think a once a year thing.
Yeah,
I think
people would probably watch, but I don't know if it would be that special for them over and over again. Maybe once a year. Right. It became a tradition. That's a possibility.
It was last Thursday, right? It was last Thursday.
Yeah.
I was actually in.
And tough on the teams because you had to fly to Iowa. Granted, Iowa and Chicago are really close to each other, but having that split. I guess it helped.
It's a game that would have been played on Friday. It was played on Thursday, so there was no game Friday, and then they went to Saturday and so forth. Yeah.
My friend John McLaughlin was there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he posted some pictures and stuff.
Nice.
Look, my take.
You'd love John. He's been to games in 50 different stadiums.
Really?
Nice.
And 40 of them have been Yankee games. Or games involving the Yankees, I should say.
In games involving the Yankees.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No,
he is a
that's great.
Big time Yankee fan.
I think it was that was my point. Is that I think it was a destination type of thing.
Right.
It's more like going to a concert now, somewhere where the outdoors that you want to see.
It's like the Red Rocks of the baseball world. Yeah.
Yeah. The children of the corn.
There you go.
Now, do we know? Has anybody said they're going to play there in the future? Or
I can't imagine they're not going to do it at least once a year. Major League Baseball built that stadium. Why would they build it for one game?
Well, I mean, unless they're going to donate it for some. But I mean, I don't know what the dimensions are, but it ain't a Little League stadium.
No, it's bigger.
It's a standard Major League stadium. I don't think I'd want to play a full season there trying to get fly balls off the corn.
Off the corn.
No.
Bouncing
so
off
it might
year.
be.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see, like, if they have one game there or a series, or when do they decide who's going to go and play there?
When do they harvest the outfield?
When do they harvest the outfield? There you go. Right. Now, and the other question is Kevin Costner going to come out and do a speech before every single game?
Every year he's going to hate that.
I'm sorry, I'm the worst to ask because I actually don't even like that movie. I just
I do. It's one of my favorite movies. I do.
Maybe they make the losing team harvest the corn.
It's like the Journey or Bon Jovi of baseball movies. Just annoying to me.
Anyway, on that note, all right. So, should we? Anything else going on? Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you.
I got one.
You go first, and I'll tell you mine.
All right. So I heard this the other day, and I had to look it up. So we talk about Bobby Bonilla Day,
right?
So it's like Flag Day.
Yeah.
Flag Day.
So Chris Davis, they're
Arbor
saying
Day.
might get his own day. So
nice.
He is retired. He retired last week from the Orioles, and they said which was the 2022 is going to be the last year of his 7-year deal, $160 million. 107 years, $161 million. Next season was going to be the last year, $23 million. The Orioles said we're going to give him all his money. So he's going to get $23 million for next year, and then he's going to get $9.16 million from 2023 to 2025, $3.5 million from 26 to 32, and then $1.4 million from 2033 to 2037.
Wow!
I'll take that deal.
Another 16 years where he's going to be pulling in at a minimum $1.5 million.
You could take a digit off that deal, and I would still take it.
Really?
It's pretty good. Pretty good. It's pretty Bonilla-like.
Well, Chris Davis had, for a few years there, was one of the best hitters in baseball, but his career has certainly been cut short, and I think he was a little bit of a one-trick pony. But
they were saying they were expecting him to come back, but he just went. Yeah.
So now, are they going to make it July 1st? Or are they going to make it a different day? So
Bobby
Bonilla and Chris Davis can have their own separate days.
They're going to make it June 1st. It's the official day every year when the Orioles are declared out of the playoff race.
So he gets $23 million and then $42 million over in deferred money over that time period. So it'll be $51 when he gets his last $1.5 million. They should probably make it. They announced it 3 or 4 days ago. So maybe August 14th, let's say.
August 14th. There you go. Well, we'll look forward to starting next year adding a Chris Davis Day to the calendar.
Maybe we could just make it the Chris Davis Field of Dreams Day.
There you go.
We should all give each other $1.20.
Mm-hmm. I'll take it.
$1.40
I'll take it. How about $2.20 for the next 4 years?
There we go.
And then $1.50 for the next 7 years, and then $1.70, and then 87 cents for the next 15 years after that.
It would be $23 next year, and then $9.16 for the next for 2 years after that, and then
then $5 and something.
Then for the last 16 years, it would be. I know for
$5,
12 years or whatever, would be $1.
No, I mean, I would triple my income from the last 5 years.
You could do that, actually. That's a matter of fact, yeah.
We keep us in chaw.
This is
for
true.
The whole season, that's for sure.
That's true. Yeah. All right. All right. So we've gotten to the point now where we can do our quiz. We got another of these quizzes, another 2 baseball, and then we're going to switch to football. So Here's the baseball one tonight. Who wants to go first? Pete, as usual.
Pete goes first.
All right, here we go. You're a manager, not the manager. You're a manager. Okay.
I've got a co-manager. Is that what you're saying?
You're a manager. No, hold on. You'll hear it.
Minetti manages the defense.
The defense.
Minetti manages on Wednesday.
Minetti manages the outfield. Anyway,
when the wind is stiff,
when
the wind is blowing hard, Minetti manages the outfield
out of the stadium.
Other than that, he never comes out of the clubhouse.
Exactly.
Everybody gets a sticker,
and only when they're playing indoors. All right, here we go. You're a manager. Which team would you rather manage? Okay, Pete. Which team / game, I should say. Which team and game would you rather manage? Oh, no, it's easy. Here we go. Game 7 of the 2006 NLCS or Game 7 of the 1988 NLCS? If you want some stats, I can give them to you.
Nope.
Yeah.
Why would I let
you remember those games very well?
I remember everything about.
Right. Would you rather manage Game 7 of the 2006 NLCS for the Mets? Obviously, we're talking about, or Game 7 of the 1988 NLCS.
Both heartbreakers.
Mm-hmm.
06 seems like there was more bad decisions.
06. There's no guarantee I'm going to do a better job. That's.
Well, you can go back though with knowledge of
what
happened.
If I have the knowledge of what happens, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, is that what we're? I could go and make all the same mistakes. I guess I'd go 06.
Okay, remember 06. 06, it was tied 1-1 until the 9th inning.
Yeah.
All right, and but in 88, it was 6-0 after 2.
Yeah.
Who started that 88 game that year?
88, Ron Darling started.
Ron Darling.
And Oral Hershiser pitched in his 4th game in that ALCS too, NLCS too.
I think I'd go 06.
06, all right.
Yeah, I think you just 06 was more winnable, I think, than the other.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe a better team in 88 though.
Better team in 88 than 06. No, it's a good team in 06, but a better team in 88.
Pretty stacked in 88.
Pretty stacked in 88, but
more of an underachievement.
But they, compared to the team they played, I think the 06 team was more equal or even better than the
06 Mets were better than the 06 Cardinals. They were. They should have won that series.
It was not that case in 88.
In 88, no. The Dodgers were just as good as the Mets.
If not, maybe a little better just based on pitching.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because, they pitched Hershiser in like almost every game.
He was great. He was, that's one of the best postseason pitching performances of all time.
And Davey Johnson was like putting Tommy Lasorda down. Like, what are you doing pitching him every game?
You got Hershiser, you got Madison Bumgardner. And
he was Hershiser was Bumgardner
Tim
before
Lincecum.
Bumgardner was Bumgardner.
Yeah, and Tim Lincecum a couple years before that. Those were the ones that stick out to me.
Yeah.
And Randy Johnson in 01.
Sure. This is true.
All right, so we agree 06.
All right. Randy Johnson in 01 for the Diamondbacks. Right? No, not for the Diamondbacks.
No. Not 01. What was the year that Johnson won the World Series with anyway, doesn't matter. It was 01, I believe. Yeah, it was 01. Yeah. All right. And I'm wearing his jersey right now, too. Anyway, okay. Harry, your turn. Here we go. Your manager, which team and game would you rather manage? The Yankees in Game 7 of the 2017 ALCS or the Yankees in Game 7 of the 2004 ALCS? 2004, refresh my memory. They lost to Boston.
After going up 3 games to none after 3 games.
I think that was just meant.
You'd probably rather manage Game 4 of the 2004.
You want to be the Doc Rivers of Yankee baseball?
I don't think there was anything really coaching wise. I think it was just sort of one of those destiny moments for those fucking chowderheads. I'd say 2017 because I just feel like
You would have made a couple extra different moves.
Coach and maybe GM.
Right.
I wouldn't have brought back a certain closer. That's for sure.
Yeah, who basically gave the game away. I got you. I got you.
So 17. Because I think they had a better manager in 04 than they did in 17.
I can hear you. And Pete, you want to weigh in?
What's the second one?
2017 or 2004?
Who they playing? 2017.
The Astros.
Oh, was that the cheat year?
That was the cheat year. Yeah.
It was 17 or 18.
17. 18, the Red Sox won the World Series in 18.
So, 17. Well, they cheated both years, but 17.
Well, the Dodgers won the...
And then they lost it in 19 to the Nationals. The Astros made it back, but lost to the Nationals, right?
Then lost to the Nationals, yeah.
That was 19, yeah.
I think I'd
17 was God, they should have won that.
Yeah, that was... And then if everything came out afterwards and you'd actually beaten them, even though they were cheating, that would be pretty glorious.
There you go.
And really, honestly, if you won against Boston, then you'd just be doing what you've always done.
Right.
Except for that one time.
It's still always wonderful.
That's a more painful.
Yeah, I think
I don't know. That's hard for me to say because I'm not a Yankee fan. To me, it's kind of crushing to go down to Boston after being up 0-3. But I think you're right. It was definitely the baseball gods had a hand in that sort of thing.
It was finally fate. And then I actually rooted for Boston that year, and I'll never do that again because no good deed goes unpunished.
All right, I'll say 17.
17. All right.
They make more people happy with 17.
I just think there was a lot of just bad moves.
There was a lot of questionable moves. There were. That's a given. All right. So you both agree on 06 and 2017. And by the way, just you speaking to the chowderheads and everything else, I was actually at Fenway on Friday night. So
they're kind of quiet these days.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, Friday night was they won 8-1 on Friday night.
Who'd they play? Seattle.
The Orioles.
Orioles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but
not really a reason to cheer. Or at least not that loud.
Mark my words.
The stadium was pretty loud.
Mark my words. The Orioles are going to play some sort of crazy spoiler at the end of the season. I feel it.
You think?
Yeah. Yes.
It could be. They can play baseball. It's not like they can't. So
no, they're a professional baseball team.
This is true. They should know what to do. Man.
They're just not very good.
Exactly. All right.
They could get hot for a weekend.
Yeah.
A late September weekend against the Yankees.
Yeah, exactly. Bite your lip.
Wild card.
Bite your tongue.
Okay.
Bite your tongue.
Exactly. All right. Time to do our top 10. What do you think?
Sure.
Why not? Right.
Did we get it down to 10? Did we
got it down to 10. We almost well in the interest of full disclosure to you. I'll tell you the category first. This week we did top 10 Major League Baseball teams to never win or even get to a World Series. Top 10 Major League Baseball teams to never win or even get to a World Series. We
were serious about that?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that part.
Oh yeah. Well, but all three of us did put teams in that didn't get to the World Series.
Right.
Right. Did all my teams never? I thought some of them got there.
Some of them, many of them got there.
Many of them got there. There were a few that didn't. So.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the best teams by year. That didn't win the World Series that year.
Didn't win the World Series that year. Whether they got to the World Series or they just got to the playoffs or whatever the hell the difference was. Right. They were the best teams by year that didn't win the World Series.
Okay.
So we each voted. We actually came up with 23 different teams.
Not and or.
And or, yes.
Okay. No. Or didn't get there, not and.
Or didn't, not and.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't win or didn't get there.
I should know the difference.
There you go.
The Buffalo Bills were number one on my list.
There you go. And the Tampa Bay, Anyway.
Mine was the Broncos.
Yeah, exactly. But in any event, we came up with 23 different teams. Had we done our normal voting procedures, we would have had 16 teams for you. So what we did was we narrowed it down.
We stole the selection.
What we did was we had 9 teams in common with at least 2, if not all 3 of us. And then we had one that got a fair amount of votes that was just not in common with others. So that's our list for tonight for you. So we got a top 10. We're going to kick it off with the 1988. Number 10 is the 1988 Oakland Athletics. The 88 Oakland Athletics went 104-58, and they lost the World Series. They defeated the Red Sox in the ALCS, but lost the World Series to the Dodgers in 5 games.
Juicing in the East Bay.
Mm-hmm. And we were just talking about it. Had the Dodgers not won Game 7 in LCS that year, they would have played the Mets. But in any event, yeah, they lost. They lost in 5 games to the Dodgers. But it was a good year for the Oakland A's. And Tony La Russa, the manager, and Sandy Alderson was the GM at the time. But yeah, it's really good.
Throw it on the pile of Oakland A's teams that were good.
Exactly.
That didn't get there.
Jose Canseco was on that team.
104-58 that year.
Yeah.
104-58
in the regular season.
Exactly.
And I mean, probably if you weren't a Dodger fan,
mm-hmm.
nationwide, you're probably rooting for the A's, right?
I was rooting for the A's.
I mean,
Dodgers just beat the Mets in the NLCS. I'm rooting for the A's.
Yeah, if you're a Californian and you're
not
a Dodger fan, then you're either an Oakland fan or you're a Giant fan.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I had a soft spot for Kirk Gibson, and that was just fantastic. So, I don't know.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, Dennis Eckersley was on that team too. So
that's right.
Yeah.
There you go. A lot of good names. But in any event, there you go. Number 10, the 1988 Oakland Athletics. All right, moving on to number 9. Number 9 is the 1986 Boston Red Sox. The 1986 Boston Red Sox went 95-66. They were in first place in the AL East. They
weren't even the best team in the American League that year.
They defeated the Angels in the ALCS, but lost to the Mets in 7 games, obviously, as we know. But yeah, they were a pretty damn good team that year. John McNamara was the manager, and of course, you all know all of the players on that team.
Good year for Boston sports. Wasn't that? Didn't the Celtics win the NBA title that year?
I believe so. I believe you are correct, sir. But you had Roger Clemens was on that staff. Tom Seaver was actually on that staff.
They won 95 games, so they were good. They
were good, but they were number 1 in the AL East, though.
They were
even in 95
obviously
games.
Yeah. There was no wild cards back then.
No, this is true. Very true. Oil Can Boyd.
Actually, 86 wasn't that the Lenny Bias?
Was it? That was, I don't know.
That was in 86, right?
I think the Knicks actually had a good year in 86. Maybe that was 85. Doesn't matter.
They had a decent year in 86. So, but anyway, number 9, the 1986 Boston Red Sox. Moving on to number 8. Number 8 is the first one on this list that did not make the World Series. And, of course, that would be the 2001 Seattle Mariners. The highest record in modern baseball. Actually, highest record in baseball ever for but another team did it, the same record in less games. So the average is higher for them. But 116-46 they went. 116-46. Crazy good year for them. They tied the 06 Cubs, but the 06 Cubs did it in 154 games. That's the only difference there.
Yeah, most ones. I mean, a lot of people have these guys number 1 on their list. It's I don't know.
Yankees beat them in 5 games in the ALCS. So
you could take your 116. I don't know. They were kind of like the Utah Jazz of baseball that year.
Mm-hmm.
Good, but not great.
Exactly. So.
Maybe not even the Utah Jazz. Like the Seattle SuperSonics. Remember the year the SuperSonics lost in the first round after having the best record in basketball.
Having the best record, yeah, exactly.
The Nuggets. That's kind of what this team reminded me of.
And Aaron Boone's brother was on the Mariners that year too.
Was he?
Yeah, Brett Boone was on it.
Daniel.
Who else was on this team? Ichiro was on this team.
Ichiro was on the team. They had just gotten rid of A-Rod.
A-Rod, right? Was Edgar still on this team?
Was what?
Edgar Martinez.
Yeah,
Edgar Martinez, yeah.
Pinella wasn't Pinella their manager?
Lou Pinella was the manager, yeah. Edgar Martinez was on the team. You had
I seem to remember they were like a number of
Brett Boone was on it.
Like
John Olerud.
John Olerud
was on the team. Yeah, Ed Sprague.
Jay Buhner.
Oh yeah.
Mike Cameron.
Right. Ichiro. Edgar, obviously, and then I mean,
Jamie Moyer.
They were an overachieving team that year. I think Jeff Nelson, who played I think for every team in baseball.
Jeff Nelson.
He had a good year that year. Yeah,
he did. Yeah, there was a lot of good.
But their record was great, and it just goes to prove. I think
Ichiro won Rookie of the Year. And,
didn't he hit like 356 or something like that?
It was Rookie of the Year, but he was already 35. It was just...
Yeah, but he's Ichiro, so he looked like he was 24.
Exactly.
For him, 35 was the new 27.
He was Rookie of the Year and the AL MVP that year too. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
He wasn't like what's his name from the Blazers.
No.
Not
at all. Anyway, so there you go. That's our number 8 tonight. 2001 Seattle Mariners. Moving on to number 7, Mr. 7.
Mr. 7.
Mr. 7 has the distinct honor of being the only choice on here that was not voted for by at least 2 of us. This was somebody's number 1 actually, and that somebody just said So that would be the 1954 Cleveland.
See, somebody actually does their research and knows
I'm aware that this team was very good.
They won 111 games in a 154 game season, and were the only team in the American League in I think a 12-year span to actually beat the Yankees.
Yep.
Maybe the best Yankee dynasty of all time.
Yeah, this is the only American League team to go to the World Series in a 12-year span because the Yankees went every other year.
So they were pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm. There you go. But they got swept in 4 games by the Giants.
They did. Yeah. Good Giants team.
It was a very good Giants team in 1954.
Yeah.
So
I think the Indians were actually favored, but they got swept, which happens.
It does. It does, though. So, but there you go. Mr. 7 tonight, the 1954 Cleveland Indians. There you go. All right, moving on to number 6. Number 6 is the 2001 New York Yankees. Just previously spoken about, beating the Mariners in 5 games in the ALCS. They could not win the World Series that year.
This one hurts more than any. This and the Knicks in 93, 94 was. These are the 2 that hurt the most in my lifetime. Ugh.
This was a tough loss for them, and they what was it? Mr. Mariano Rivera.
We don't have to go over.
We don't have to go over it. So yeah, we've actually talked about this game before.
Cheapest single to ever win a World Series in the history of mankind.
Exactly.
One of the greatest moments for Yankee haters ever.
Yeah, there's a lot of Yankee haters out there.
There you go.
Yeah. There always will be when you're the best sports team in the history of organized sports.
Of course. But it was also, down to the last. Here's
what,
kind of a dramatic moment.
Yeah, it was great. It was very dramatic. But I think for maybe the only time in U.S. history, if there was ever a time when the nation was rooting for New York, it was this time.
Right.
This was right after 9/11, and I think that. I think there was a lot of people rooting for the Yankees. I don't think everybody was rooting against them. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was rooting for the Yankees that year. I did.
I was.
What's that?
I was not.
You were rooting for the Diamondbacks, were you?
Hell yeah. This is the Yankee fans, Beltran.
Pete was sitting in his basement, rubbing his Lee Mazzilli trading card, and
Lee Mazzilli and my. Boog Pal. Come on, guys. Switch the mojo here.
Right.
There you go. Anyway, so number 6, the 2001 New York Yankees.
Who was it that got that hit anyway?
Gonzalez,
yeah.
Yeah, it's the Yankee fans' Beltran moment only in reverse.
It is. It's very
Gonzalez.
True. Yeah, he actually got the hit as opposed to what Mr. Carlos did.
Yeah, well, he swung the bat, so
he got the bat of his shoulder.
You can't get a hit if you don't
difference. Exactly.
The goddamn bat.
Yeah, so anyway, moving on to number 5. Number 5 is the 1988 aforementioned 88 New York Mets. The 1988 New York Mets. They won 160 That year.
They won 160 games.
They won 100.
They went 160 and
160 and 42.
Wow, that is the biggest choke of all time.
That was a very, very, very good
202
season.
games.
Damn,
That's
so they had at least 2 80-game winning streaks.
They did.
They played.
They had exactly 2 80-game winning streaks. Exactly.
They played 37 doubleheaders that year.
Right.
Just amazing. Just amazing. Can't imagine.
No, they lost the first 2 games and then won it all out. So there you go.
160 straight.
No, I mean, listen, it's a who's who. I mean, just listen to Rick Aguilera, David Cohn, Ron Darling, Sid Fernandez, Dwight Gooden, Roger McDowell's on the team, Bobby Ojeda. And of course, you got Gary Carter was on the team, Wally Backman, Kevin Elster, Keith Hernandez, Greg Jeffries, Howard Johnson, Dave Magadan was on the team, Tim Tuffle. Lenny Dykstra, Lee Mazzilli, Kevin McReynolds, Darryl Strawberry, Mookie Wilson. It was just like
it was the 86 team plus.
It was the 86 team plus. Exactly.
But I don't think their pitching was as good as 86.
The pitching was pretty much the same as it was in 86, with the addition of David Cohn. I mean, David Cohn replaced Bobby Ojeda in the rotation. That was really it. They had the same rotation, other than that. So, but
Jesse Orozco still on this team.
Was he?
He must have been.
He was, yeah. No, he wasn't.
He wasn't. That's the difference.
There you go. Jesse Orozco was the difference.
Jesse Orozco was had a hell of a year that year in '86.
Well, he was 61 in '88, so
he had to retire at some point. You know,
yeah.
You know,
I don't know.
But it was all the magic, I guess, flew away when he tossed his.
What did the Mets win in the regular season in '88?
160. They won
100 games.
They won 100 games and lost 60.
What did they win in '86?
What did they win in '86? I think they won 104 in '86. I believe.
'86 team is better.
Yeah.
I know the star list, but a lot of these guys were just getting maybe a little on the downhill side of their prime. You know, just a little. The addition of Cohn was great, and then thanks for sending him across the bridge. But
well, we wanted him to get a no-hitter, so
we wanted him to get a no-hitter, so we sent him over to you.
Anybody we really like, you deserve a no-hitter. So
that's right. It was a package deal. We got Cohn, the Strawberry.
I apologize. I was as soon as I saw it, I remembered. Obviously, it was 108 games they won.
86
in '86. Yeah, 108 and 54 they won.
That was a good team in '86.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was youth and talent and brashness. '88, they were a little bit more seasoned, but maybe a little more obnoxious.
Yeah, much more obnoxious. They were definitely much more obnoxious.
Kind of
well, they were the talk of the town for the first time ever. From that 85, even 84, I would say, to like maybe 89, 80, it's definitely 88, 89. Mets, the Mets were the talk of New York.
They were, and I can't believe I didn't remember this. I should have remembered this. I totally just spaced when you said that. Orozco, was definitely not on the Mets because he was actually on the Dodgers that went to the World Series and won it.
Jesse Orozco was a very good clutch pitcher.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
Also a prognosticator. He knew where to go.
He definitely
to get another ring.
He was the systems.
He knew where to go.
You just won the World Series. Where are you going?
Exactly.
I'm going to the Dodgers.
He's like, Kurt, and we just talked about the Diamondbacks. Kurt Schilling obviously knew where to go too. After 01.
Sure.
So anyway, there you go. Number 5 is the 1988 New York Mets. Moving on to number 4 is the 1995 Cleveland Indians. The 95 Cleveland Indians, they went...
This is LeBron James and Kevin Love, right?
Pretty much.
Oh, the Indians. Okay.
The Indians, yeah.
I think you mean the Guardians.
The Guardians. Well,
who did they lose to in the World Series that year? Was that
the Braves?
Braves, that's right.
Braves, yeah. They won 100 wins. They won 144 because you remember the season started late because of the strike from the year before, fallout from the strike the year before. This team was very good. Not as good as maybe the 54 Cleveland Indians, but this was a very formidable team. But the Braves that year were just, too much of a match for them.
Finally Braves, 95.
Exactly. So, number 4, the 1995 Cleveland Indians. Moving on to number 3. Number 3 is the aforementioned 06 Chicago Cubs. The 1906 Chicago Cubs. They went 116-36, a full 20 games ahead of the second place New York Giants.
Highest winning percentage in the history of Major League Baseball, right?
Highest winning percentage ever. The Mariners did 116, but they did it in 162 games.
Yeah.
The Cubs did it in 154 games.
Right.
So, yeah. And they
did the Expos in the 94 shortened season have a higher winning percentage?
That's a good question. Let me see.
I don't think so, but I know they were also a team that didn't make this list. That right. I know they had a pretty high winning percentage.
They did have a high winning percentage. I'll check it out. But the Cubs were majorly upset by the crosstown rival White Sox in the 06 World Series. So they did not win. But yeah, this was the highest winning percentage of a full season, whatever a full season was at the time. Obviously, it was 154 games then, but this was a good team. Let's leave it at that. So the number 3 tonight is the 1906 Chicago Cubs, and we went back 115 years to get that team, to get our number 3 tonight.
They still played.
This is true. They did.
115 years is not that long ago.
115 years, yeah. It's really not when you think about it. All right, number 2.
Pretty long time.
It's a long time, but in relative, whatever. We won't discuss relativity.
It's one lifetime for Betty White.
Pretty much. She was in high school then when they won.
Mm-hmm.
When they won this. In any event, number 2 tonight, the 1996 Atlanta Braves. The 96 Atlanta Braves, obviously the coming off of their World Series season, they went 96-66, first place in the NL East, and they played. Who beat them in the World Series that year?
I think it was the Mississippi Mudhounds.
The Toledo Mud Hens, actually.
Some Northerners, wasn't it?
Right. Some team that was about to go on a little bit of a roll.
Exactly. They didn't sweep them, though. They didn't sweep them in that
4-2? 4-2?
4-2.
Pre-Mariano, right?
Yep. No, Mariano was there.
Was he? I thought John Wetland was
Mariano was on the team. He was.
Wetland was still the closer, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Mariano was the setup guy.
Yep. So,
that's right. This was the Wade Boggs, Tim Raines. Yeah.
Exactly. This is Wade Boggs riding the horse after the game. Yeah, sure. But in any event, yep, there you go. So the 1996 Atlanta Braves are number 2 tonight.
Pretty good pitching staff on that team.
I love the fact that we discussed the Yankees.
Talking about but look at these pitching matchups. Game 1 was Smoltz versus Pettit.
Mm-hmm.
Game 2 is Maddox versus who's the starter?
Smoltz versus Pettit. Jimmy K.
Jimmy K. Then you had Cone versus Glavine. Okay. Then you had Graham Lloyd. No, he was a reliever, so I don't think he started that game. I think it was Pettit, Glavine, and Pettit again. But Graham Lloyd was the winner.
Yeah, because it went back and forth. So.
I know. Yeah, and then Pettit beat Smoltz. So Pettit and Smoltz faced off twice.
Yeah.
Splitting, and then Jimmy Key. God,
that's a name out of the past.
He pitched 2 games and won. I think he won the deciding game.
He did. He won Game 6. He beat Greg Maddux.
Graham Lloyd. Remember, Graham Lloyd had a great year.
Yeah.
God. All right. There you go.
But on giving kudos to the Atlanta Braves, because that's what we're discussing right now.
Probably the best starting pitching staff ever.
You're talking about Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, John Smoltz. I mean, should we continue?
Just tells you how good Cone and Pettit were. Pettit's God, he's so good in the postseason.
Playoff P.
There you go.
Right. The real playoff P.
There you go.
Yeah. Actually did something in the playoffs.
Did something, yeah, exactly. So, all right, number 2 tonight, the
original playoff.
1996, exactly, Atlanta Braves. All right, that brings us to number 1. Our number 1 team to never win, or for that matter, get to a World Series would be the 1931 Philadelphia Athletics. 1931 Philadelphia Athletics. They won 107 games, won 107 and 45. 107 wins, 45 losses. Was the team's third consecutive pennant-winning season and its third consecutive season overall with 100 wins. But they lost the 31 World Series to the St. Louis Cardinals in 7 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Ricky Henderson's, I think, first year.
I believe you're right. No, his rookie campaign was 1930. So this was his
second year.
I'm surprised they were number one. I mean, I had them, I think, in my top 5. But yeah, I mean, great team.
Exactly. It's
got a lot of A's on this list, right? Two or three.
There's two. An Oakland A's and Philadelphia A's.
Well, yeah, there's still the A's.
A's regardless. So
A's across the board.
A's across the board. All right. Well, there you go. That's our top 10 list for tonight. Top 10 teams to never win or even get to a World Series. All right. That brings us to tonight's Old Balls. Harry, tell us who tonight's Old Balls recipient is.
Well, in keeping with the theme of tonight's top 10 list, I had to go with the winningest, the coach, the manager who's won the most games without, I think, ever getting to a World Series, let alone winning a World Series. And that's none other than Mr. Gene Mauch, who started his playing career in 1944, started his managerial career in 1960. Coached the Philadelphia Phillies, the Montreal Expos, the Minnesota Twins, and the California Angels. Coached from 1960 to 1987. Won over 1,900 games. He had over 2,000 losses. But I don't know. I always loved Gene Mauch. I thought he took some teams that were small market teams that didn't necessarily always have the deepest rosters, and it seemed like they were always competitive. Especially the Twins and Angels for a while there. He was close with the Angels. I think he was, I think they blew a 4 or 3-2 lead over the Brewers and 2-1 lead. I can't remember. I think they won the first 2 games of best of 5 against the Brewers, and then they needed only one more victory to get to the World Series, and they didn't do it. He had some good years though there with the Angels and the Twins. And just some epic meltdowns when it comes to arguing with umpires. I think that's, he was right there with Earl Weaver. Had his own spin on it, but it was,
really,
it was great. I think this was a guy who lived baseball, for many, many, many years, and I think he was one of the best managers to ever coach, to ever play in all of sports that didn't win a championship. Of course, he was the coach of that '86 Angels team, which we were talking about with the unfortunate Donnie Moore, Dave Henderson situation. But great coach, and obviously won over 1,900 games. I don't know where that puts him on the list. I think he's top 15 of wins of all time. He just also happens to be, have had over 2,000 losses. Coached a long time, and well, if we're going to talk about the best who never won, I think it'd be hard to argue against Gene Mauch.
I think you're right. I think that's a fitting Old Balls tonight. Old Balls. So,
thanks, Earl Weaver.
Earl Weaver finally won.
No, that's what I mean. If he hadn't won, then
yeah.
If he hadn't won, then he would have probably been
the Old Balls in that capacity. But so, Gene Mauch, you owe your Old Ball statue to Earl
Weaver. Right.
To Earl Weaver. There you go.
I think Earl Weaver was on our Old Balls list too at some point. Wasn't
Earl Weaver was on Old Balls.
Yeah. I think he's every other. When I can't think of anybody for Old Balls, it's always Earl Weaver.
Earl Weaver. Yeah, absolutely.
Or Cecil Fielder.
Always go to Earl Weaver or Mr. Fielder. There you go.
That's right.
Prince Fielder is going to come up soon, so
he's been retired. His balls aren't quite old.
Well, no, I mean he's been retired a while. In a little while, he'll make it to Old Balls. So
when we're still doing this to 4 people, and we have our top 10 father-son baseball. Yeah, he'll make it on.
He'll be on it.
When we're running at the top 10 list.
Anyway, all right. Let's do some NFL chat. What about that?
Sure.
Sure, why not? We're preseason games got going last week.
How about them Jets and Giants, huh?
About the Jets beating the Giants 12-7.
Wow,
12-7 on
barn
Saturday.
burner.
Barn burner.
That's
Yes,
right.
I watched, I would say probably
5 minutes.
Nah, I think probably about 20 minutes between.
Gotcha.
Including
what I
commercials.
saw in the. Yeah, no, because I don't watch commercials.
I have to admit, I did not watch it. I glanced at it a couple times on my phone, but I was eating a nice dinner.
I'll tell you this.
I didn't see much good in those 20 minutes.
Look, Zach Wilson looked great, but I'm going to go out on a limb here. That was the best game Daniel Jones has played as a Giant.
You think so?
I didn't see either one of them play.
That was the only game where he didn't have a turnover or an interception.
And there you go. His stats were clean last Saturday night.
It's a joke he didn't play.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Did you heard something about the MetLife Stadium though? Didn't you hear a report out of New Jersey?
Yeah, there was. They had to both clear out Giants and Jets practices this past week for a mysterious white substance found on the field. They brought in the CIA and the FBI to investigate it.
Brought in and everything.
Yeah, else. I mean, who knows? Were we back to the old 2001 ways? But they realized it was just the goal line, and they deemed it safe because neither team is going to be anywhere near it this season.
Exactly. So, but he'll be here all week.
That's right.
Don't forget to tip your waitresses. Anyway, so. Yeah, so the Giants play their next preseason game this coming Sunday at 1 o'clock. They're playing the Browns in Cleveland.
Are the Browns still called the Browns?
The Browns are still called the Browns for now. It'll due to change. And you mentioned that a few weeks ago too, right? The Cleveland has the.
Didn't they pick a new name though? Or no, that's the Indians.
That's the Cleveland. Well, they're going to go.
So Cleveland still has an opportunity to name one of their team. The Cleveland Steamers.
The Cleveland Steamers, exactly. So, there you go. Well, maybe the
or the Cleveland Rockers.
There you go. Well, maybe the Cavaliers will change to the Steamers. You never know.
The Cavaliers are probably okay, right? Is that offensive? Cavalier.
Cavalier.
I don't know what the hell's a Cavalier.
Isn't it
with the guy who leads the cavalry?
It's a noun and an adjective.
That's right. That's right. It is. He's acting very cavalier, or
exactly.
He's a cavalier.
Right. It can be both. It can be both.
I think it's a profession that's no.
Doesn't he wear a funny hat or something?
Wears a funny hat and is the first person to get stabbed in a cavalry.
Like were the Three Musketeers Cavaliers?
No.
Musketeers.
They were Musketeers. Yeah.
But they didn't have muskets. Is my point.
The Three Musketeers.
Not that you know of. They might have had concealed carry.
They could have had.
You can't conceal a musket.
Oh, yes, you can.
Well, they did have some pretty loose pantaloons.
Exactly.
You can get a musket in those pantaloons.
Very, very loose.
Yeah.
That's right. Sawed-off musket.
Hey, D'Artagnan, is that a musket you got in your pantaloons?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think he was just happy to see our
the Cleveland Musketeers.
The Poughkeepsie. I have to look up what a Cavalier is. It's liar, right? It's cavalier.
No, I think a cavalier isn't that somebody who leads the cavalry? That's what I thought. I thought it had to do with like.
All right,
it's a liar for the cavalry. A liar for the cavalry.
Here's what the Merriam-Webster has to say.
Merriam-Webster? Who's Merriam-Webster?
Miriam's sister.
Merriam-Webster, the dictionary people. Marked by or given to offhand and often disdainful dismissal of important matters. Okay.
Well, that's
the adjective.
That's the adjective.
He's just acting cavalier. And then what's the noun?
Capitalized, of or relating to the party of Charles I of England in his struggles with the Puritans and Parliament.
Oh, yeah, so that's got to be offensive to somebody.
So,
capitalized, of or relating to the English Cavalier poets of the mid-17th century.
Oh, there you go.
Definition here of the noun: a gentleman trained in arms and horsemanship, a mounted soldier, an adherent of Charles I, a lady's escort or dancing partner. So basically, it's a soldier.
So a soldier that couldn't care
soldier.
Less.
That's right.
Yes.
A dismissed soldier.
So could you be a cavalier?
So I think you could.
You could.
Absolutely.
One would be cavalier.
Many of them were.
All right.
So if you were disdainful
so I'm sure that's offensive to somebody.
Of important matters.
Somebody's going to be upset about it.
Which would kind of be. Well, would very much clash with being a soldier if you were like, the battle's starting. Please.
But there's no talk of the
wouldn't
Cavs.
go over well.
Exactly. There hasn't been any talk of the Cavs changing their name.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
No, I don't think.
And there's not been no talk of the Browns changing their name either.
They're a symbol of white privilege.
Well, because the Browns are actually named after
Paul
person.
Brown. Yeah. They're named after the guy that founded
named after a white guy, though.
Right. Yeah,
it does sound a little odd.
Named after a white guy.
Are they the only team to be named after a color? Other than, don't say the Orangemen of Syracuse, but I'm saying professional. Is there any the Reds? I guess the Reds.
The Reds. Yeah.
And what is the Reds?
Not named after
the Reds were the Red Legs. Okay, because of their socks, they wore long socks, so they were the Red Legs, and then eventually they just changed. They took the word legs off.
So there's two teams named after Red Sox.
Pretty much.
There's only one team that's named after a person, right? That's the Browns.
And that's the Browns.
We got the White Sox, Red Sox. We got the Reds. We got the Browns. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And
I mean, there's plenty of other colors. So if colors are safe, then yeah.
The Packers. It's not in their name, but it's in their town. The Green Bay Packers.
Who was the greatest?
Packers. We got to keep that.
Who was the greatest Cleveland baseball player in history?
Greatest Cleveland baseball player in history, Larry. I don't know. Could be.
I guess if it doesn't come right to mind, then you're not going to name the team after.
Oh yeah.
The Cleveland Smiths.
The Cleveland Smiths. There you go. Well, I mean, you could name them after the first.
Bob Feller.
There you go. You could do that.
Cleveland Fellers. That's
Cleveland
not
Fellers.
bad.
No,
that's not that bad.
Or they were the Cleveland Bobs.
Manny Ramirez. Gaylord Perry.
The Cleveland Gaylords.
How about the Cleveland Gaylord Fellers?
The Cleveland Gaylord Fellers.
Nap LaJoy.
Talk about a group of Cavalier guys.
Tris Speaker. Bob Feller.
Naps.
The Cleveland Speakers.
Isn't it LaJouie?
LaJouie, is that how you say it?
LaJouie, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Shoeless Joe Jackson, he has a really great
perfume. LaJouie, it's not that perfume for the modern woman.
You can bring home the bacon and fry it up in a pan. And never let him forget you're a man.
We've taken a weird turn here.
Because I'm from Cleveland. I'm from Cleveland. LaJouie. Because I'm a Cleveland LaJouie.
This has been the NFL report today.
Other than that, Cleveland's had some pretty shitty players. I mean, the Elmer Flick was pretty good.
Elmer Fudd.
The Cleveland Fix I could get behind completely.
Exactly.
I think
do you play for it? The Fix. What do you say?
I think the Cleveland Naps would be all right.
The Cleveland Naps.
Sleepy team, but Nap LaJouie. How do you say it? LaJouie?
LaJouie.
LaJouie.
Yeah.
LaJouie, yeah.
He's got a WAR of 79.8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go.
Anyway.
Could be them. Anyway, back to football.
That's what we talk about.
We were talking about football. So
let's change next week. Let's change the name of every team and have a top 10.
Their
greatest name substitution.
Greatest name substitutions
greatest organization.
Most politically incorrect team names of all time.
I think we can handle that,
yeah.
But I don't think anybody will. Never mind. So the Jets are playing the Packers on Saturday afternoon.
That's a lot of green.
At 4:21. It's a lot of green. They're actually having a joint practice with the Packers up in.
Good for them.
Open pot's legal now, so
up in Green Bay. Yeah. a joint practice. Yeah, they're having they're practicing the art.
They don't really do anything. They all just
rolling a joint.
They pass the doobie around and they say, "Hey, man, where's the ice cream truck?"
And then they play a football game afterwards. So, but hey, and what was this? Mike LaFleur, he's ready to call his own shot. Apparently, Jets defense coordinator Mike LaFleur used to be called Mikey, the little squirt forced to relinquish the TV remote and prime couch space when his big brother and brother's best friend came barging into the house seeking entertainment, nourishment, and an occasional dip in the pool. This was 2004 when Mike LaFleur was 17 and was dreaming of a life in football. His father, is just almost done. His father and maternal grandfather were coaches, and the two living room crashers wound up in the profession too. As a matter of fact, they have done quite well for themselves. Green Bay Packers coach Matt LaFleur and Jets coach Robert Saleh. They were the friends. They were the two that came crashing in the house. Anyway, so Mike's big bro and future boss, both graduate assistants for Central Michigan football team, live together in a no-frills apartment about a mile from the LaFleur family home in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. So, jumping ahead to it, it sounds like he's ready to call his own shots. He wants to, so Robert Saleh is going to be working for the guy that came in with his big brother and took the remote from him. He wants to call his own shots. Is basically what this story is saying. So it's been the slow news day in the Jets camp, so I just figured I'd read that.
Listen, there's a lot of people who want a lot of things.
Exactly. So anyway, yeah, well, that's pretty much all it's, there's been...
I got a couple things.
I was going to say that's all that's going on in the Jets camp.
Oh, in the Jets.
But,
okay, good. Yeah. All right.
But, Gab, what do you got?
Well, just speaking of the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, he says, well, I don't want this to be a farewell tour season. Mm-hmm. Can he avoid that? I mean, the writing's pretty much on the wall, right? This is
farewell to the Packers.
Farewell to the Packers. I don't think he's going to retire.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't believe anything he says. He'll be back. Where else is he going to go?
Well, we've talked about that.
If they throw enough money at him and he wins the Super Bowl this year, I don't think he's going anywhere. If he even gets to the,
let's say
he's got to win it though, right?
Let's say he doesn't. Well, let's say he doesn't win the Super Bowl.
Right.
Where does he go? Unless Tom Brady retires, does he have a better chance of winning a Super Bowl than Green Bay?
Tom Brady retires, he's going right to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean,
all right, but if you can't stand it there,
he'll
go where the money is. They always go where the money is, man.
Right.
It's not like he's never won it.
Look,
he's never won.
He's won a Super Bowl. He's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So who's going to throw money at a 38-year-old quarterback like
somebody
that?
Who's desperate?
Tampa Bay.
Well, Brady will still be there. I know a team that should.
Yeah. Well,
but they won't.
That's very possible.
The Yankees. Actually, he'll probably be a great middle reliever.
He was. I was going to say he could probably close out a game. Yeah. On occasion.
Yeah,
you never know.
He'd have to cut his man bun.
You want to put him in like the 7th, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you might get two in. You might get two. Look,
my question is, can he avoid that kind of feeling? Because let's face it, he he was there, right, and then Favre left, and then he took over. Presumably, that's what's going to happen with Love or somebody.
He's actually hurt right now, Love. So.
Right, but I mean, he's the heir apparent, right?
Right.
Is he really being treated all that badly, though?
I'm not saying he's being treated badly. I'm
look at how the Giants treated Eli Manning at the end of his career.
I'm not saying he's going to be treated badly. I'm just saying, can he avoid that kind of? It's been a great run. See you somewhere else.
The shit. I really don't think he gives a shit.
And you're right. He doesn't want that.
He might chase the money. But they should. Why he didn't agree to the money in an extension in the first place, I don't know. I think he likes being the center of attention.
Well, and I'll tell you something. We don't know what Jordan Love is going to be, and I think Harry, you most loudly, but I think we've all made the point that he hasn't always had great weapons around him.
No.
But what if he gets to the championship game and doesn't get back to the Super Bowl again?
3 years in a row.
Can you really say that the Packers are crazy for maybe it's time for somebody else?
No.
Okay.
If your name is Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, or Aaron Rodgers, and I'm any GM on any team, then I offer you really good money to stay on that team to play for me. That's the end of the discussion.
Yeah.
He's one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL and will be for the next 4 years at least, and barring injury, which I hope
But if he doesn't get you there,
how many other Patrick Mahomes didn't win it last year.
Yeah, he's 19 years old.
I know.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
he's got another 15 years ahead of him at least.
Well, he won it the year before, though.
So there's probably 6 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, they each have one
that can go wherever the hell they want and play for whoever they want. So the problem is that they're all on team. They're all the best teams already have those quarterbacks.
Right.
So where does it, if Aaron Rodgers was going to go somewhere else where he wanted to go, he would be there already.
Right.
Because even the idiot Giants would throw money at him if Aaron Rodgers said, you know what, New York's really done a pretty good job with their receivers and they got Barkley coming back. I'd really like to go play for them. Do you if that did happen and the Giants said no, we've got Daniel Jones, then we should be hanging them in the town square.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I also think that he still has a chip on his shoulder and still wants to stick it in the Packers' face. And the way to do that is to win.
To go to the Minnesota Vikings, yeah.
The most interesting scenario to me is if he wins it all.
It's a possibility too.
And he's got the best chance. He's got a better chance this year than last year.
Then what the hell happens?
And he had a good team last year. He had arguably the best receiver in football. He had a good offensive line. He did not get hit very much. He won the MVP. So yeah, he's
and yet he had the ball taken out of his hands.
Bad call.
Yeah.
Bad call. Look, if what's his name, the coach for the Tampa Bay Bucks, if a couple of his wackadoodle calls went one way or the other and didn't have a second coach on the field at all times doing what he did, I think that's the difference, is that there's more delegation to a Tom Brady. I think that's what Aaron Rodgers wants. I think he wants to be involved in getting and who's going to come to the team, who's going to play there, and in the play calling. And the fact that they're not giving him that is absolutely ridiculous.
Right. Bruce Arians, by the way.
Bruce Arians. Yeah. Because, look, Bruce Arians is maybe the weirdest NFL coach ever. I thought he did a great job last year, but in years past, he's been criticized for some atypical decisions, unorthodox decisions.
I will give you, and we said this after the Super Bowl, earlier in the year, but I'll give Arians credit for calling a decent game. And obviously, everybody was doing their jobs, and obviously, but Todd Bowles, actually, that defense, was pretty damn good.
Here's the thing that Tampa Bay does for Brady, that it's like Brady was able to convince them to bring Gronk back out of retirement, to bring in a troubling Antonio Brown, and they listened to him. And Arians is the first person to say it, that Brady had more to do with how that offense was set up last year than he did.
Yeah.
And yes, the defense played.
He said it in an interview. He said it.
Yeah. Defense was incredible. So that's what Aaron Rodgers, I think, deserves. That's what he deserves. That's what he had, kind of. But he was the one barking, to get McCarthy out of there. So who knows if he'll ever be happy? I don't know. Does anybody really know what exactly, like, if you said to Aaron Rodgers, okay, the mic's off, tell me exactly what the problem is and do it in less than a paragraph.
Right.
And I'm not sure he could.
Probably not.
He wants the GM gone. That's not going to happen.
I think he wants a certain degree of power and autonomy, and
he wants what Tom Brady has in.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe the team's like, well, you haven't won enough to deserve that yet. I mean, why else wouldn't you give it to him? It's not like he's.
I think he definitely deserves it.
Yeah, I agree, but they obviously don't.
All right, here's a question. Okay, you have mediocre. You have a team that's made it to the Super Bowl, and you're not stacked like Kansas City. You have mediocre talent. You have mediocre talent, and the game is on the line, and you have to win the game. Okay, do you take Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, or Aaron Rodgers? And my answer to that question is, I don't care. I'll take either of them, any of them.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And I'll be honest with you, that Rodgers might be the top of that list.
I would take Rodgers. And to be honest with you, my list would go Rodgers, Mahomes, Brady in that order.
And I'll take.
And I wouldn't be disappointed with Brady.
Mediocre talent, I'd go Mahomes, then Brady, then Rodgers, then Brady.
I mean, Brady's won how many Super Bowls with mediocre talent on offense? Yeah. I mean,
but you're talking about one play here, right? Game on the line.
No, I'm just talking about a game.
Okay.
Yeah, who do you want to go into that Super Bowl with?
Oh, well, then I'll take Brady.
Yeah.
I'll take Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, they're all great. Who knows what Mahomes' legacy is going to be? It could be we could be talking about him 10 years from now being better than both Brady and Rodgers. But my point is that what more does Aaron Rodgers have to do to be given a Giancarlo Stanton contract and whatever he wants? I mean, and here's my other, why wouldn't you have Aaron Rodgers in your office when you're picking draft picks and trying to build
it kind of doesn't make sense.
The way Green Bay does things is one of the most mind-boggling things. But
so here's my summary of Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't like the situation that he's in and feels he deserves more respect, which he probably does, definitely does. But there's no place better.
Right.
There's no place better.
There's no place
that's that. If you're, which I would think his sole goal is to win.
Right.
But I don't know. If you feel like the people that are making the decisions that you are not a part of are doing it poorly, and that is hampering your ability to win, then after a certain point, and I think that's the problem he had with McCarthy. He wanted to be in on the decisions, and McCarthy said, no, this is my job. This is what I do. If you reach a point where you go, well, I don't know if I can ever win here. I'm already being super fucking human, right?
Right.
And we're still not getting there. I got to go somewhere else, even if it means I don't win right away.
But if it was about the money and not winning, he would be gone. He'd be playing in San Francisco right now and with expectations that were lower than what he was in Green Bay. I mean, I think he's smart enough to realize I'm going to whine and moan and get the court of public opinion on my side so that my last 2, 3, 4 years with the Green Bay Packers, I have a chance to win another Super Bowl and, distinguish myself further from many other quarterbacks who have won one Super Bowl.
He wants that other Super Bowl.
I think he does. He does. Or else he would have been somewhere else by now. He would have picked a team. He would have been playing for the Miami Dolphins or something. I don't know.
He's in his mind. He's saying Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowls. I want another one. That's what he's saying. So
he's got to have more than he needs.
Well, he wants to get one more than Favre. That's really it. He wants to play in that second Super Bowl.
And play in the second Super Bowl and win it. Yeah.
Because he will go down.
He wants to be the best. Nobody's taking anything away from Bart Starr, but he wants to be the number 2 quarterback of all time.
And a vast majority of people in Green Bay are on his side than management or the GM. So, and look, quite honestly, if I'm the owner of the Packers, I'm getting rid of the fucking GM.
Yeah.
I mean, they built a pretty good team around him.
Yeah.
He had a great year last year. And they were 1 or 2 plays away from going to the Super Bowl, and maybe they would have won it. Who knows? So I think Tampa Bay was a better team. I think Green Bay played a little over their head in that championship game. But there's no team set up right now for him to go to where he has a better chance of winning than Green Bay.
Right.
I mean, other than who? I mean, is Green Bay's got to be in the top 3 favorites to projected to go to the Super Bowl again.
They
right?
are, yeah, from the NFC. It's the Bucks, it's the Packers, and it's the Giants.
San Francisco Giants.
San Francisco Giants, exactly.
I don't think anyone doubts that's the case for this year, but
yeah.
How many more years do you think he has in him?
3, solid 3, maybe 4. Yeah, the way he played last year, he's got 3 years. Easy.
Okay. So to that point, project out and look at some teams where they were last year, what they did in the draft this year. What other team? I mean, some of the other teams that had that, they just signed big name quarterbacks.
Yep.
How old is Aaron Rodgers now? 36.
36, gonna be 37.
So he could have 5-6 years more left in him.
Yeah,
he could have 5 more years, and that is plenty of time to.
That's plenty of time for the Giants to finally get some offensive linemen.
I mean, he doesn't have to go to a team that was, 3 and whatever and needs to completely rebuild right? Maybe if it's not after this season, maybe it's after, I don't know what's left on his contract, but maybe after the next season. There's somebody who's any year over the next 3 or 4 years that there's a team that's on the cusp. And
what?
Okay.
So
I don't know. Right now, who? Nobody. Next year, maybe.
Probably
right?
not.
We look at the Dolphins 2 years ago versus
last year. Let me put it to you this way. And we keep
huge improvement. Not ready to go to the Super Bowl, obviously, but
I don't think he's going to go to like Miami or something like that.
No, but I'm just saying it doesn't take 4, 5 years to.
No, it doesn't.
It
can be done in a couple, sure.
Right, to the point where adding an Aaron Rodgers suddenly makes you a contender.
Okay,
maybe not a top contender. But.
Here's the power rankings from
CBS.
PFF.com.
PFF, Professional Football Focus.
Yeah. So you got the Chiefs, number 1, the Bucks, number 2. Okay. He's not going there. You got the Buffalo Bills, number 3. He's not going there. Here's one that's interesting, but I don't think it really fits him very much because I think this is built more on defense. The Baltimore Ravens. I don't think he's going there. Then guess who's number 5? And I would argue they should be number 4. Is the Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay Packers, yeah.
Okay, so underneath that, Los Angeles Rams. I think they just made a move for a quarterback. Here's a team. Here's a team at number 7, which I think is rated way too high, which is the New Orleans Saints. Now,
that's way too high. That's
now,
too high for them. Right now, yeah.
If that was true, okay, that would be a great place for Aaron Rodgers to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the Cleveland Browns, number 8, I think ranked too high. San Francisco 49ers. They tried to do something, didn't work out. Seattle Seahawks. Well, they had another complaining quarterback who seems to have settled down. And so now you're getting down the list. Now you got Indianapolis and Tennessee and Pittsburgh and Miami, and he's not going to go to any of these places.
No.
So
he's got 2. He's an unrestricted free agent in 2024.
Right.
And over the next 2 years.
So he might have one Joe Montana season, where he goes to, I don't know, maybe, who knows? Maybe the Buffalo Bills get close and have an injury to Josh Allen. I'm not wishing that on Josh Allen, but maybe that's the case. But other than that, his best chance is to either go to New Orleans or stay in Green Bay.
Here's the problem, though.
What about the number 26 team?
Next year he makes $26.5 million, and 2023 he makes $25 million in his base salary.
Base salary, yeah.
This year he's making $1.1 million.
Yeah,
getting 16 in signing bonus, and then a bunch of other bonuses, which
he's not going to let that money drop.
No, but I'm saying it's really gonna have to be a team he could play beyond 2 years, but these next 2 years, well, not this year included, but those last 2 years of his contract, those are the big money years.
Look, if he wins it this year, then the next 2 years after that are not going to be an issue. Whatever problems there was with his boss is going to be resolved because they won it. Reggie Jackson and Billy Martin hugged after 77 and said, in 78 they were like, he was, they were. So I don't think it's really that big of an issue.
Winning is the great panacea.
It is.
Speaking of quarterbacks, enough about Aaron Rodgers. So Andy Dalton.
Yep.
Hurt. Right?
Supposedly the Chicago Bears starter, because Justin Fields has too many questions. So
too many questions in his play, or just he raises his hand too much. He's got too many questions. Maybe
some of both, but holding on to the ball too long, maybe not being able to process the game, et cetera, et cetera. So Andy Dalton had some words the other day, which I thought were interesting. I thought I would share them with you.
Please do.
He says, so they were asking him about Fields and, how he was the darling for a short time. He said, you can't focus on that. If you focus on that, then it's going to beat you down. I know who I am. I know who I was created to be. I know where my identity lies. Do I want the fans behind me and this team and all that kind of stuff? Yes. Do I want them behind Justin? Absolutely, I do. Right now, oh, wait a minute. Like I said before, Justin's going to have his time, and Justin's going to have a great career. But right now, and so my focus is on being the best, on being the best player I can be for this team and do everything I can to help win this team. So Andy Dalton saying, hey, I'm the man right now.
It's my team.
My team. Justin will get his chance. So my question is, how long do we have to wait for that? Because,
2-3 years.
Maybe 1 year, maybe half a season.
Depending on how he does, right?
Hey,
yeah,
I hope that Chicago finishes last. I do.
Well,
let's back Chicago.
Let's back everything up for a second. Justin Fields had an okay game in his first game in the NFL. He stood out above the other guys playing against third stringers and defensive players who most likely won't be in the NFL
within the next week. Yeah.
Week 1. Okay, now do I have all the confidence in the world that Andy Dalton is going to lead the Bears to an NFC Championship game? No. Yeah. But if they're 500, 600, if they go 6-3 in the first 9 games with Andy Dalton, then I'd actually, if I was Justin Fields, I would say, okay, I'm all right with that, because it has not bode very well for any quarterback in their first year to just come out and be thrown to the wolves. Now, if they start 6-3 but then lose 4, or Dalton gets hurt, then let's see what Fields is made of. Right. But I do think Dalton's right. He's the starter. And I think he has to say that. He can't go out there and say, well, we'll see what happens if he beats me out. I mean, that's just no professional athlete is going to say that. Right. I mean, Cam Newton's not even saying that. So
here's the question, though. Bears have been 8-8 the last 2 years. Right?
Right.
And let's see, 2018, they were 12-4, lost the wild card playoff game. Last year, lost a wild card playoff game. So how good does Andy Dalton have to be before Justin Fields gets his shot? That's my question. Because we know Dalton's a quality quarterback, right? Didn't do much with Dallas last year. You know, had a couple good years with the Bengals, but obviously wasn't the answer there. Is there any reason to think he's going to be is he just a placeholder? And yeah, if you win, you get to stay. But, you know, if they go 4-5 in their first 9 games, does he have to be over 500?
I think if they get into a tailspin, then you'll see Fields be thrown out there. And I don't think that'll bode well for Fields, because that means he's on a team that's probably not as good as they think they are right now. I think Dalton's been an upgrade there. He'll be a steady presence on a team that's, I don't think, going to have the most dynamic offense in the NFC, but it's going to be better, I think, on paper than they were last year, or at least should be.
Let's see what the Bears schedule is here.
Yeah.
But, you know, Patrick Mahomes didn't start right out of the gate. They had Alex.
I'm not saying Fields should. I'm just saying I wonder what the window is for Andy Dalton.
You already know the answer. If
their heads are above water,
if there's an injury or they start to look like their season is going downhill, then they will move on from Andy Dalton and put Justin Fields in there.
All right, so let's
just like every other team has done with their budding rookie quarterback.
They might be okay. They open with
they have an easy schedule.
They're in Los Angeles, then they got Cincinnati at home, they're in Cleveland, Detroit at home, in Vegas, and then at home against Green Bay. Then they're at Tampa Bay, home for San Francisco, and at Pittsburgh. That's their first 9.
9, yeah. Well, let's look at that, okay? Miami at home. I don't know. Oh, no, it's preseason. Sorry. Los Angeles away in Los Angeles.
At L.A.
I'm going to give
tough defense, right? L.A.'s probably going to still have a pretty good D.
Rams, so that's a loss.
Who's the kid on the Rams that looked so good last year? Oh, no, that was San Diego, right?
That was San Diego,
yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Bengals, they can win. Herbert. Browns, they'll lose. Detroit, they can win. Raiders, they'll lose. Packers, they'll lose. Buccaneers, they'll lose. 49ers, they'll lose. Steelers, they'll lose. So
that's a loss. That's a win.
They're 2-7. They're 2-7.
So with a little bit of luck, they could be 4-5. And then the week 10 is a bye week. So unless they're above 500, I'd bet Justin Fields starts week 11.
There you go. And that would be a good thing for the Giants. So if they can, if the Bears could somehow finish last, that would be perfect.
No, they might.
So
we'll see. Then again, and look, I don't know if Fields is the answer or not. There's a lot of questions about him, and that doesn't bode well for him coming in and turning the team around. But
no, not at all.
So, all right, I got one more for you.
Go for
it. Tony Busby, we know him, we love him.
Of course.
Right, 22
clients. Deshaun Watson doesn't love him.
Deshaun Watson. No, well, He has told the AP that the FBI, quote, reached out to me and I responded.
Yes, they're probing allegations.
Yeah.
Yeah. The FBI is now probing allegations tied to Watson.
Yeah.
So.
Although Watson and his lawyers, of course, they denied the accusations of, I guess, kissing them against their will, that sort of thing. Although Watson's lawyers did say that some sexual activity happened during some of the appointments, but he never coerced anyone. Mm-hmm. So the backtracking is right now on the part of Watson and his people. So
I just looked up and your door closed, but it was closed when I saw it before.
I saw a dog come in.
Yeah, that's our my brother-in-law's dog, Rosie. She's here.
She opened the door and came in?
Yeah, the door, unless there's a little thing on the floor that keeps it open when it's all the way open. Otherwise, it's tilted so it closes by itself.
I got you.
So she pushed it open, came in, saw it was just me, left, and the door closed behind her. She got out quickly.
Screw this, I'm out of here.
She got out quickly enough that it didn't close and lock her in. So.
Otherwise, she'd be on the podcast with us right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, this is going to keep going on.
So they're backtracking, saying that some sexual activity did happen during some of the appointments.
Little something, but it was nothing that he didn't make anybody do anything.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know. I don't think that bodes well.
I don't think it bodes well. I don't. So, do you still think that he'll wind up on the Eagles this year, or do you think he does not?
Next year. Next year.
Yeah.
He's out of football this year.
I think so.
Yeah, I think he's listed as the 5th string quarterback right now on the Texans.
Yeah,
There's going to be a new MTV series, the Bad Boy House, where
they'll trade for Aaron Rodgers before Deshaun Watson.
Before Deshaun Watson gets back.
Him and what's his name from the Dodgers are just going to be in a house.
Trevor Bauer.
And,
Deshaun Watson.
Or either that, or they're all going to go on tour.
And Antonio Brown can join.
Or they're going to go on tour with Bill Cosby to the comedy clubs. I don't know.
There you go.
Let me go back to the Mitchell Trubisky. Freudian slip there.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
Dalton.
Let me go back to the Andy Dalton thing. Okay. Here's why I think you could see Fields before. Andy Dalton has, I think his best years are behind him. Now, granted, he hasn't been playing on great teams, but here, Andy Dalton with the Dallas team that was arguably better than average offensively, was 25th in the league in QBR. Here are the only quarterbacks that were lower than him: Tua Tagovailoa, Gardner Minshew, Carson Wentz, Drew Lock, Cam Newton, Nick Mullins, Nick Foles, and Sam Darnold. Okay, Mitchell Trubisky was almost 8 points higher in QBR than Andy Dalton. Okay, Daniel Jones was higher than Andy Dalton. Mm-hmm. So. And all right, well, QBR doesn't need anything. Okay, well, let me read you off the top leaders in QBR from last year.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Ryan Tannehill, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Drew Brees, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady. Okay, so it does
kind of does mean something.
Kind of does mean something. Mm-hmm. So I was shocked with the Andy Dalton kind of signing because I think the Bears did that before they knew exactly what they were going to wind up getting in the draft.
Right.
And yes, Andy Dalton was, at least the fans wanted Trubisky out. So Andy Dalton is at least, I think, somewhat better. It reminds me, though, of when Joe Flacco came to the Broncos. Everybody said Flacco's got some years on him. He's a good game manager. He's a veteran. And then all of a sudden, midway through that season, we saw rookie quarterbacks coming in. Now, that injuries had a lot more to do with that and some other things. But I think by the middle, unless Dalton just has a bounce back year and this Bears team can dominate on defense and they can control the ball and put up numbers that they are not expected to,
right,
you're going to see Justin Fields playing.
I think you're right.
I think they took Andy Dalton precisely for kind of the reasons that you said, because they wanted someone they had to get rid of Trubisky, and you bring in Dalton, he's not going to be the savior of your franchise. And so he comes out, if he happens to play well, right, returns to form, so to speak, then you're fine. You're giving your rookie that you have invested at least something in.
You're giving him a couple months of training. Yeah.
Right. And if he sucks, then you go, well, he's not a high draft pick that you're ready to yank him whenever.
He's the best Alex Smith they could find.
Yeah, I think it was
this was before they knew who they were going to draft. Because
he was insurance.
Nobody knew who anybody was going to take. Really, there was a lot of other than the first pick. Nobody. How many NFL mock drafts were there?
Fields went when? What position?
Some of ours were closer than some of some of the ones.
Ours were way fucking off.
What did Fields go, like fourth?
No, he went lower. The Bears
eighth or something.
He went for the with the Giants pick.
Yeah, which was what?
10th, 9th, 10th or 11th. The Giants traded that pick for their pick next year.
Yeah. So Dalton was insurance no matter what
their pick
happens.
and their pick next year.
Right. If we get somebody that we think can be our quarterback, great. If maybe they were gonna reach, or how teams are always reaching for quarterbacks. And if there's nobody around, well, then hopefully we got a serviceable guy who's better than the last guy. And that
11. He was 11.
11
pick.
Okay.
11th pick. Yeah.
Hey, on the Bears. This is a joke. If you get what I'm saying, on the Bears. ChicagoBears.com. It says Justin Fields quarterback number 1. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that's his number on his uniform.
Yeah.
That's his number on his uniform. He's number 1.
Because remember the whole Andy Dalton QB1.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I remember. But hey, look, you know what? I think that you're right. I think Andy Dalton is going to be in there through the bye. They're going to be 2-7. They're going to bring Justin Fields in. He's going to win a couple of games. They're going to go 4-13 because there's 17 games this year. And
I think the Bears will be better than that.
And they're gonna be last in the league and wind up with the number 1 pick, which the Giants get. So there you go.
Let me ask you guys this, and I know the first preseason game doesn't really mean anything, and I think preseason games mean less than ever before.
No, definitely.
But this could go down as one of the best quarterback classes of all time potentially.
Could be.
Who do you think is going to have the biggest first year out of those guys?
The biggest first year out of
who do you think is going to play this year, and who do you think is going to have the best rookie season should they play?
Trevor Lawrence.
You think he's going to be definitely the starter?
I don't think he's going to win 14 games, but he's going to be the best of those.
And you think he'll definitely be the starting quarterback game 1?
Oh yeah. Are you kidding me? Of course he is.
Are we? Who's the kid from Cincinnati? I know he's
Burrows. Yeah.
I hope he has a bounce back year because
do we count?
He's having a pretty good year
if he plays the whole year. But.
Sure, we could throw him in there, but
hard to think he's going to have the best year though because he's coming back from a horrific injury.
Sure. I don't think Zach Wilson's going to have a bad year. I think. Trey Lance is going to have a decent year because
I think Trey Lance might be. I think Wilson is. I think Wilson's going to be okay. I think Trevor Lawrence at the end will be just fine.
I think it's Trevor Lawrence.
Here's my dark horse. Mac Jones.
Okay.
Is he gonna? Yeah, he's gonna play right away. Right?
I think Cam Newton's gonna work himself out of a starting job this year. I really do. I think you're going to see him in there.
We got a picture of Mac Jones too. Hold on one second.
Mac the knife?
No, right here. It's somewhere in here. I'll find it. Keep talking. Mac Jones.
And the reason why I say Mac Jones, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The reason why I say Mac Jones is because I think he can be put into a system where he's not going to be made to do too much and expose too much and be able to get rid of the ball quickly. I think Trevor Lawrence could be in for a rough season and hopefully is not in a Joe Burrow situation where he just doesn't have the protection that he needs. Because if you're going to start a rookie quarterback, you need that extra second of protection because they're not operating as quickly that first year as other quarterbacks. So we'll see. Trey Lance, he had and he might, but I don't think he's going to play as much. Do you really think?
I don't see him.
Garoppolo is not going to.
Yeah, I don't see him coming out. I don't think they want him to play right away. And he was the guy they took fourth, right? That was the big surprise,
right?
Lance. So not that doesn't have the skills, but it's questionable. Lawrence, I think, probably is the safe bet to have a great year. But I agree with you with Mac Jones, and I think that also for the very same reasons, I think Zach Wilson could have. I don't know if it's going to be a spectacular numbers year, but I think he could have a very solid year. And
I think he could exceed expectations.
And if Robert Saleh can kind of get this team on the right track and just playing good football without making a lot of stupid mistakes, then they could be a pretty decent team. And let's face it, other than Buffalo, we know Miami's on the come, but other than Buffalo, this is still, not a great division. So, and you could have a very solid, if unspectacular, season.
I think you're right.
Could translate to wins more than numbers.
And I hope Burrow does come back and I hope he doesn't just fall into being another quarterback in a horrible situation in Cincinnati. I do think that out of all of the quarterbacks that have moved around or kind of, I think Matthew Stafford's going to have a bounce back year. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
I think you're going to start to see Matt Ryan dip down a little bit this year. Obviously, Drew Brees is gone. Ryan Fitzpatrick, is he going to play? Who knows?
He'll be great for the first 6 games.
That's right. He'll be.
That's what he does.
Fantasy owners take him no matter what.
Yeah, Stafford, that's a great point. Like, imagine the talent of Matt Stafford, right? Oh, he's another year older. Okay, fine. But he's kind of an ageless guy, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to,
Not necessarily, but yeah, he's not super old. Yeah, he's still.
Yeah. No, but I mean, he's going to play at a higher level than other guys who are his age.
Because he's a pocket passer and he has never relied solely on his athleticism.
Yeah, he doesn't run. But now he's not in a perennially losing situation.
Sure. And I think
his attitude has got to be through the roof.
We've always said that he was a much better quarterback than people
the team
give credit
that he had
for,
around
the team
him.
that he had around
now
him.
he's got the opportunity to prove it in a defense that's going to keep, the other team off the scoreboard, so he might not have to be, come in from behind all the time. Yeah. I think this is a make or break for Matt Stafford's career. I think this season and maybe next season could determine whether or not he's a Hall of Famer or not. I really do.
Yeah. It's very true. I couldn't find the picture of
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones that I wanted to find.
But I think you've shown it before, right?
Yeah, I have shown it before. We got this one right here. So there you go. So not anyway, those of you listening on the audio, it's a side-by-side picture of ripped Cam Newton and not so ripped Mac Jones.
With a cigar.
With a cigar in his mouth. And the dad bod, rocking the dad bod.
Matt Jones just put up a picture of like a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
whatever gets it done, right?
Yep.
There you go. So, but in any event, yeah. I think you're right. And we'll see what happens because season's starting not too long from now. It's less than a month away. We got another 2 preseason games. Got another 2 weeks of it, and then kind of a week off, which is weird. And then the season starts.
By the way, Tim Tebow's been cut from the.
Tim Tebow was cut from the. Yes,
thank God.
It was cut on Monday. 2 days, not even the full 2 days after his first preseason game.
Not too many other. Not that I know a lot of names, but I don't see any other recognizable names on the old cut list.
Well, some people were speculating, though. I saw that after he was cut, that he was cut for 2 reasons. One, because he was he obviously wasn't good at tight end,
right?
And also he was cut because the media was paying too much attention to him and not enough to Trevor Lawrence. So.
And the Mets want to get Alfred Morris. The Giants cut Alfred Morris.
The Giants cut Alfred Morris.
Yeah,
they just signed him last week.
He's 42 years old.
They just re-signed him last week.
But he's still younger than what's his name?
He's still younger than Tom Brady.
Frank Gore.
Yeah, that's true.
Did Gore Gore's playing still, right?
Gore's got another year on the Giants.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Let's see.
Gore's going to play until he can play 1 season with his son in the same league, not in the same team maybe, but in the same league, and then.
I mean, one of the best father-son teams of all time, Al Gore and Frank Gore. I mean, just fantastic.
Al Gore, Frank Gore were like that. They were like, when Al Gore was playing quarterback, oh my God, that was the handoffs that he would give Frank, amazing.
That's right.
Blake Prohl, is that Ricky Prohl's kid?
Blake Prohl is Ricky Prohl's kid. Yes, it is.
Cut by the Vikings.
There you go. So.
Well, there's your NFL ticker.
And there's your NFL ticker for this week. All right.
Is that it?
I think it is. It's not a whole.
Does it?
We mentioned basketball before, but there's nothing more to talk about on that.
I think we've bored people for long enough.
The Olympics are over, so I think we're good. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, we got the medal count right. USA.
See you in October.
Hey.
We
won the most medals at the Olympics, right?
We did. Yeah. What was the final count? Do you have that?
I won by like one over.
One. Yeah. It was small. It was close, but
honestly, I don't care. I really don't care about the medal count.
I got you. So,
did the basketball team win? I didn't even watch.
How did the USA basketball do?
Yeah, they won the gold.
They won the
gold. Yeah. What about the women?
They got the silver.
Mm-hmm.
No, women's basketball team won. Women's softball team got the silver.
Yeah,
and women's basketball
soccer team got the
Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi became the winningest teammates ever in Olympic basketball history.
Very good.
They're each over 50 now, right?
Well, they're in their 40s or just 40. I'll tell you what, they both look great. I actually watched more of the women's basketball games.
You said that. Yeah, I think you did the men's.
And I love watching them, man. They are Sue Bird is great. I mean, and there's a lot of talent on that women's team, and the WNBA is it's fun to watch. And I'm not saying that with any sort of irony. I really do. Some days I'd rather watch it. And
I think Kareem said yesterday or the day before or something, he doesn't watch the NBA. He doesn't like the game. No. Which there's a lot of people that feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, he watched it this year. That's for sure.
Yeah,
for the Bucks. But
I mean, we'll still watch during the playoffs though.
Hey, look, the Knicks are going to be a better mediocre team, and they're playing on Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. Yeah.
I will say this: this is the first time in I think 10 years that the reigning MVP is not playing on Christmas Day.
This is true.
Well, that's a good. We got to do the over/under. By the way,
we do have to.
Good. Here's a good bet. Will the Knicks? They were what, 4th in the Eastern Conference going to the playoffs?
5th.
5th. So will they be higher than 5th this season?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think there's going to be other teams that are going to potentially improve. But let's see. I mean,
how about this? Here's the question: will they be 5th or better? Will they at least be 5th?
I don't know. I'm going to say 6th.
All right. Well, let's look at the teams ahead of them. You got the Knicks were 4th, by the way.
They were. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because they were home.
So it was the top 3, and then everybody else.
Right,
and the
Knicks
they were tied with the Hawks record-wise, but beat them. So the question really, are any of these teams going to improve? The Sixers, I think, will definitely be in the top 3 with the Nets and the Bucks.
Right.
All right. Are the Hawks going to be ahead of the Knicks this year? Maybe.
Possibly.
Probably. Have the Heat gotten better?
Possibly.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Are the Celtics any better?
But they went to the finals the year before. How much better are the Heat?
Well, but the Heat.
How much better were they this year than they were the year they went to the finals?
Yeah, but who did the Heat sign in the offseason?
I don't know.
Didn't they sign they got what's his name?
Waiting.
Yes, he's that tall guy.
The tall guy. The tall guy can play basketball well. They got one of him. Waiting.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. So
they did improve. They improved.
Yeah.
They improved.
Okay. So Kyle Lowry. That's who went to Miami.
Yeah, I don't know how much. It makes him better, but he's old.
Well,
right?
no. Here's the Miami Heat starting lineup for
21-22.
For
this upcoming season.
So it's going to be Bam Adebayo. Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, Kyle Lowry, and Duncan Robinson.
They'll be better if Robinson's hurt less, right?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I mean, it's probably.
Are they better than the Knicks?
If the Knicks can play defense like they did all year this past season, they're probably, give or take, kind of.
I think the Knicks will be in the top 5. I think they're going to be unless something happens with the Sixers, injury wise. I think the Knicks will be 5th. I think the Hawks will beat them record wise, but I think the Knicks will be 5th, 4th or 5th.
All right.
Yeah, and look, Lowry's a nice addition. He's 30,
and we're gonna play a full season this year, right?
Yeah,
this is a regular, right, from the usual start times, usual start months.
So the Knicks were 10 games over 500, and will they have a better winning percentage than 569? I think it'll be about the same, which will give them more than 10 games over 500 in a regular season.
They'll be like 12 or 13.
I think they'll probably be between 550 and 565 in a winning percentage. So,
yeah,
I think what they've gained on offense, theoretically, they're going to lose on defense. And I think the big key to the Knicks is whether or not Mitchell can get healthy.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's really the big key to the Knicks.
Yeah,
and
if he can come back and be helped and can stay on the court.
Can Fournier and Kemba stay on the court?
Right.
And
if at least with Kemba, man, if he can play, 60 out of the 80 games, I mean that's got to be. I don't know what his. Is there a basketball war? I don't know.
And they just signed.
That's got to be worth at least a few wins. Kemba.
Yeah, look, I think the key too is how RJ Barrett improves and whether or not, because he's going to be the key in that starting lineup. Derrick Rose will come in with the second team, which is good. We'll see. I think the Heat, Knicks, and Hawks, maybe even the Celtics, because the Celtics will surprise you. I think the Pacers will be a little better than they were last year. I think all of those teams, and I think the Bulls just got a lot better. So I think the Bulls will probably
get better too. Everybody improved, including the Knicks. Though the Knicks did improve, though too. So.
Yes, absolutely.
We hit the 6-minute mark, and the NBA crawl goes up.
Yes, so
we're officially talking NBA.
I do think that the Knicks they'll have to really improve to keep that 4th spot. But I think they'll be 4th, 5th, or 6th. I think
there was talk that should help them improve, though.
There was talk that they're going to bring Marcus Camby back too. So I mean, that could be a help. So.
That was the worst trade in Knicks history.
But
all right, there we go. How about that? A little bit of legitimate NBA talk.
A little bit of legitimate NBA talk in August. What do you think to that?
Yeah, no one does that.
I always say. Well, here's another question, just not to delay things, but are the Lakers better? I mean, this is an interest. I've never seen a team go that deep into with veteran signings.
Right.
I mean, the only guy who's going to be young in their starting lineup is old physically.
Right. All right. Well, here's a question for you.
And will Carmelo start?
What? Yeah, he will. Well,
Carmelo
didn't go to LA to sit on the bench, come off the bench. Here's a question for you. What teams did not improve or got worse, I should say, from what you've seen so far in this offseason?
Well, the Raptors got worse.
Okay.
They lost one of their best players. I think the Wizards got worse.
Mm-hmm.
Who did the Lakers get rid of? They got rid of.
Who did the Lakers get rid of?
Yeah.
Jerry Kuzma?
Carmelo's projected to come off the bench. They think Ellington's going to start. Because, I mean, LeBron's going to start at small forward.
Yeah.
Of course, LeBron's going to start.
I don't know if the Lakers.
I'm saying he's going to start at the 3 this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if the Lakers are better.
I think they're better. With Russell Westbrook, yeah. They were very, very thin.
If they had Russell Westbrook when they went to the playoffs, they would have went at least another round.
Well, they were hurt. That's really the challenge with this is who stays healthy.
Just saying, if he was in there in place of who was hurt, then they had that other piece. So
yeah, it can pretty much replace just about anybody scoring,
right?
At least.
But in any event, well, that's coming up fast too.
We'll see. We're only 4 months away.
Huh?
Here's
4 months starts in October. So
here's a team.
No, it's November, isn't it?
Well,
here's a team.
No.
Here's a team to look out for. Is the Charlotte Hornets.
Pelicans. Oh,
they got Kelly Oubre, Mason Plumlee, Kai Jones. I think they're going to be better than they were. And I think the Chicago Bulls got DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso from the Lakers.
Yeah.
And they lost Thaddeus Young, but I think the Bulls are a better team. Are they better than the Knicks? They're going to be pretty good.
They could be the most.
There's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of teams in the East that are in that middle 4th to 7th, and depending on the way the balls drop, not to use a euphemism, but in just a handful of games, and probably towards the end of the season, is going to determine who's 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th. There's not going to be much gray area. There's going to be a lot of gray area actually. Just to see it. I mean, Knicks could be 4th, Knicks could be 7th, and it could be 5 games separating the four slots.
What's the playoff story for this year? Back to kind of the way it was. It's not going to be that ridiculousness again, is it?
I think that was just for last year.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just back to the eight teams.
I mean, the teams that glaringly didn't really. Well, I think as it stands right now, the Trailblazers have gotten worse. Right. I don't think the Nuggets have gotten any better. They've been awfully quiet. I think the San Antonio Spurs have gotten worse. I think the Toronto Raptors have gotten worse. The Wizards, obviously. So other than that, though, the teams at the top, I think they've all made some moves. Other than the Lakers, there hasn't been really big moves.
Right.
The Nets are the Nets. The Bucks are the Bucks. They lost PJ Tucker, but they re-signed Bobby Portis.
Question mark about Golden State. What are they?
Golden State. It
should be better, right? Because they're going to get
all depends if Klay Thompson's back.
Right. Supposedly, if they get him back, he should be better.
Yep. I think the Clippers will be better. So we shall see. I mean, I think the Clippers moves, I think, help them. I know a lot of people don't really agree with that with the Patrick Beverley deal, but I do think in the end that it's going to make them a better team. So we'll see.
Yep.
Just
we will find out in
one thing here.
11 months. No,
in 11 months.
When
exactly.
it's all over in 10 months from now.
Yeah, we're looking at regular season begins October 19th. So
that's normal. Yeah, usually it starts right before Halloween.
Yeah.
Does it really? I always thought it started in the beginning of November.
Yeah. October 20th is always usually when it starts.
Okay. September 28th, training camp begins. October 19th, regular season begins. And it's cool though. I do have to admit, I'm pretty psyched to watch a Knicks game on Christmas because
they're the Hawks, right?
Yeah.
And the Lakers play the Nets.
Yep. So it's gonna be good. That was something. That was always something to do. Back when we were
watching Bernard King take on the Celtics by himself.
Yeah.
Ernie Grunfeld in the corner.
Christmas tradition.
Exactly. Oh man.
Who do you think has the highest odds right now to win the NBA championship?
Oh geez, I'm gonna go with the Nuggets.
No.
Just to blow smoke at you. No, I think the Bucks are going to be up there. I think the Nets are probably going to be one of the favorites, if not the favorite.
The Nets are number 1. Lakers second. Bucks third. Golden State fourth.
Really?
Philadelphia fifth. Utah Jazz, Clippers, Suns, Nuggets.
There you go. Where are the
Knicks are kind of down in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, right around 500, right?
Yeah.
Ish, in the middle.
Plus 8,000, but yeah, current odds. But Brooklyn's plus 220. So yeah, I mean it's I think people are hot on the Heat. the Heat have climbed up.
Hot on the Heat.
Hot on the Heat.
Hot on the Heat. The only way to be hot.
Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Tylen Hero, Bam Adebayo, Victor Oladipo, and Duncan Robinson with PJ Tucker coming in. Mm-hmm. Heat are going to be better than they were last year.
Heat are going to be better than they were.
I forgot about Oladipo. Yeah.
I think the Heat are the most improved team.
Yeah. That was an in-season signing.
That Pat Riley seems to know what he's doing. Huh?
You think?
He's kind of the Oakland A's of basketball. He doesn't have the highest payroll. He doesn't get the biggest names, but he knows how to get those
talent and gets the pieces that he needs.
Knows how to get the right players over there. Right. I mean, let me put it this way. Imagine if Jimmy Butler was still on the 76ers this year.
Right. There you go.
Would the Bucks have won the East?
Questionable.
That's a really good question.
I think Jimmy Butler on the Heat makes the Heat a formidable challenge to a healthy New York Nets team. So, I don't know. It's interesting.
It is.
All right. Yankees are 2 outs away from sweeping the Red Sox. Hopefully I didn't jinx it because my favorite player in all of baseball is on the mound.
Yankees are 2 outs away from but I mean they're leading 5-1, so it's
5-2 now.
5-2. There you go. I spoke too soon, and so did you.
Yeah.
Chapman can do it. He's got another 3 runs. It's not a closing situation.
God damn it.
So
all right.
Before we go,
we
forgot this 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
We had the
over-under.
The over-under, and I think I originally had set the line at 5, but that allows for a push. So
exactly. So where did you move it to?
I moved it up to 5.5.
Okay.
And this is again for remind our listeners, our listener.
We are talking about the Shelves of Wonder.
Yes.
And
Shelves
how many
of Wonder.
Different types of tape. Now I have not altered this at all.
Okay.
So the question is, how many different types of tape do I have on the Shelves of Wonder?
All right.
And the over-under is 5.5.
Are we giving a number, or are we just going over or under?
Over-under.
Just over-under.
Over-under. Okay.
We both, I guess if we both go over or under, and then we'd have to give a number as a tiebreaker.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Okay. Harry, you go first.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here because I think I think a lot of the tape might be elsewhere than a shelf. Okay. I think your everyday tape might be in a drawer. Okay. So I'm going to go.
I don't want to. You know what? I don't want to say anything.
No, say it, please.
No. I'll let you guys pick, right. And then I'll.
Right.
I'll say this before. I'll say this beforehand because nobody's picked anything yet. Mm-hmm. The shelf, I would say, so far it's not a big sample size, but it's been kind of disappointing. Mm-hmm. There've been a few things on there, right? I didn't have a dictionary.
Right.
I didn't have something else. I did have a drop cloth.
Right.
And I think there was something else we pseudo qualified, but so it's 50-50 at best. There's still a large variety of things in there. But
hopefully you're not trying to throw me off with my gut. I'm going to go under.
Okay.
Right. I'm going to go over.
John's going to go over.
I'm going over, and I was going to go over before he said he was going to go under. So I was all set to pick a number, thinking that he was going to go over too. So
yeah, I'm going against my best. I'm going to go under.
All
right. Well, your theory is correct, Harry. The flaw is that this kind of is the drawer.
Oh, okay.
We do have a junk drawer. There is, I believe, super glue in it. But no
That's
tape.
not tape.
That's not tape.
But no tape. So we're going to start with everyone's favorite.
Scotch.
All
right.
Number 1. And I also have Scotch off the dispenser. But that's the same type.
Same thing.
Yeah, that's 1. Yeah.
I have some medical white.
Ooh, that's an oddball.
Not medical tape stuff. Yeah,
I was not expecting medical tape.
That cloth, that cloth that you can't tear.
That might be the game changer right there.
All right.
So I got 2.
That's 2.
I got everyone's favorite duck.
I expected that.
All right.
I got the old black electrical.
We're at 4.
We're at 4. I got this medical stuff.
I think that's kind of the same.
No, it's more of an ace bandage.
Yeah, it's
stretches.
like the ace
Who has
bandage.
more than one type of medical tape in their office?
I got funky.
I actually have both
toenails.
of those types of medical tape too, but they're not in my office.
Tell
They're in
me
the bathroom.
this isn't the best stuff.
Okay,
It is. It works
You
so
wrap
good.
this on your finger.
No,
it
no,
stays
no.
there for
All right.
weeks.
Yeah, as long as it's on your finger.
So, and it is sticky. That was my question.
Yeah.
It is.
But
sticky.
it is sticky on the
All
inside.
right.
So,
Yep. All right.
so that's 5. Finally, I got some painter.
Painter's tape. There we go.
Right.
So it's so the number
Now-
6, or is there more?
That's number 6.
That's
Yeah.
number 6.
But
I
is there
also have a tape measure.
Tape measure.
But that's
That's
so
just
1,
6.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There you go.
Close.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
And what was funny was probably what spurred all this is I was looking for something else and I found this painter's tape, which is
that's brand new.
And I
Brand
grabbed
spanking.
it and I put it down here on top of all the other tapes, which are right here. And then I went, wow, that's a lot of different kinds of tape. And that made me
Think
think
about
about if it had been 4, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even 5, I would have said, But 6, that's a lot of different kinds of tape. So if I hadn't found this like probably a week or 2 weeks before,
Then we wouldn't
I
have
actually
been,
said,
we wouldn't have
here's-
been doing this.
I don't think I would have done it if it was
There
just
you
5.
go.
Might have done it if it was 5,
Sure.
but
Sure. There you go.
definitely had to do it when it was 6. So there we go.
There
Good
you
job,
go.
guys. John,
Right.
you get you can have this roll of tape. That's
I
not
got
on
the
this
roll of Scotch tape.
You get the
off
extra
roll. I get the
Scotch
extra roll.
tape.
There you go. I'm very, very pleased. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right.
And
I'm a couple pitches away from having to go bang my head against the wall.
Well, there's an out. There's an out. There's an out.
There's one out.
There's one out. Runner up first.
Renfroe homered. Xander Bogaerts walked, and it's just
Devers is up, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
He's 0-2.
Yeah. But in any event, and hey, look, we're 3 weeks away from Beaten by the Coin coming back.
Beaten by the coin.
Oh yes, and
Second season.
the new jet sounder.
The new jet sounder.
We haven't been canceled by the podcast gods. Didn't Bob Iger pull the plug on us?
Bob Iger made a phone call, but it didn't work.
Okay.
So, all right.
All right. I'm
but
sure
there you
we're right up there with Joe Rogan number-wise.
Joe Rogan, we're just slightly below Joe.
That's right.
Just
We are
slightly below.
well, listen, yeah, he's
Joe.
ticking a lot of people off. Rogan.
I wonder how many types of tape Joe Rogan would have on his shelf.
37. That would be
Yeah,
my
he's probably got a lot.
I don't think he'd have any on his shelf. He's got a lot, but they're somewhere else.
right.
He's got
So,
a bin.
He's
That's
got a tape bin. It's not on a
Yes.
shelf. Exactly.
All right, we're 1 out away.
1 out away. So Devers. All
right. So
all right.
by the time John does his wrap up, the game could be over.
We will know. There you go. All right. On that note, we will wrap the show up for today while Chapman tries to get the third out. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They are all just search for the Get On With It podcast. And, of course, all of the shows are on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at 7:30. And for those of you that just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and Stitcher. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. Watch a lot of sports. Watch the baseball. Watch the Mets continue to sink. Watch the Yankees continue to rise.
Watch the baseball.
Watch the baseball. Watch the
What
baseball.
are you, Louis Tiant doing?
Watch the baseball.
Watch the baseball.
Watch
Pick a
the
winner.
baseball.
It's first
All
and
right.
third now. Martinez singles.
First and Martinez single. First and third. There you go. One swing of the bat and it's a tie game. Anyway, watch the preseason this weekend. Probably not much of it, but watch a little of it, and we will talk to you later, guys.
Yeah, if you watch a little bit of the preseason, you'll know maybe what the hell we're talking about.
Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Not much. So.
Don't watch any of it. It's a waste of time.
Anyway, we will talk to you later, guys. Have a good one. Cheers.
Peace and love. Thank you, Sarah, for tuning in, and anybody else who might have also.
That's right.
Foundation 6.
Cheers.